contribute, or if you want a chance to win things, then it's unfair for us to make everybody call all the time. So we pivot and we open up some things to the text line that you can win or get qualified to win. So we feel like we kind of even it out a little bit by allowing you to text. But even if you don't necessarily are in it to win it or qualify to win something, and you just want to weigh in on the topic at hand, text line's the easiest way to do that. So we encourage you to use it. 316-247-0923. I see the text. Pat sees them. Chance Lebo, our jack of all trades, he sees them. Our Swiss Army knife. So shoot us a text about whatever you want, whenever you want. You can listen via the intranet. If you got a computer of any type, just put in ESPNWichita.com. Make sure you have an internet connection. Listen live. And just like that, you'll be able to listen live. So check us out on the web. Check us out on the radio, 92.3 FM. Check us out on our ESPN Wichita app. Download that and take us with you wherever you go. That way you won't ever have to miss a moment. Now, sometimes you will when things are out of your control. You got to meet with somebody, you got a meeting, and you miss something, and you want to make sure that you didn't miss something really good, then check out the podcast. We archive every show on our app and also on our ESPNWichita.com webpage. Just scroll around, look around for the podcast, click on it, and then go and find whatever you missed or whatever you just want to listen to again. Also, you need to, if you like us at all, you need to follow us on X. You need to be our friends on Facebook. You need to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search ESPN Wichita, like, subscribe. Oh, subscribe, then like. And then you can also live stream us. You can watch us. Be able to watch us again today because we're at our Equity Bank Park studio. And when we are, you can look at us, first of all. But more importantly, you can see the schedule of the show. You can see what we're going to talk about, when we're going to talk about it. So if you're really looking forward to a hot topic, you'll see in which order and when we'll talk about that. So it's an added bonus for you if you live stream us on X, Facebook, or YouTube channel. We are at our Equity Bank Park studio. It is February 12th. It's the 43rd day of the year, 322 days left in 2026. And we're headed for a high today in Wichita of 62 degrees. We will get to your texts. Texter's already got one. Get to that in a second. Also lay out the show schedule for you here in a minute. But first, before we do, we will turn it over to our resident joke teller, Jack Johnson, who has a moment of levity is what we call it. We start every show with a joke. What you got, Jack?
I tried cooking with wine for the first time last night. And after 5 glasses, I couldn't remember why I was in the kitchen.
Nice. Only 2 days to tell you about today. It's National Giving Hearts Day and National Plum Pudding Day. Pass on the latter. It's Abraham Lincoln's born day, 1809. It is Lincoln La Paz born day, 1897. He's an astronomer. He was also known as a UFO investigator back before that was, well, about the time it was cool. He had a good long life, lived till 1985. And Judy Blume, author of children and young adult books, including Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Judy Blume, born day today. All right, there you go. We'll stop there. February 12th for you. All right, coming up on the show, we got, and shows, I guess I should amend that, because we will be bringing you a unique version of the Pulse today. Due to circumstance, we are going to tag team and roundtable it for a while and pretty much just kind of piece it together. Make sure that you get what you're looking for, not necessarily who you're looking for it from. But I'll be in the mix. Chance Lebo will be in the mix. Old Jack will be in the mix. We have some moving parts today, but we'll get through it. And hopefully you will find it seamless and maybe even more enjoyable than ever. So how's that? We'll do our best from 2 until 3 o'clock. It'll be a little mashup of different dudes, but you'll still have the pulse, and we'll still hand you off to the program from 4 to 6, etc. All right, here's what we're going to talk about today. Got to lead with Wichita State. Unfortunately for Shocker fans, the USF Bulls brought Wichita State to its knees last night. 66-58 was the final. The second half was a rough watch, unless you're a USF fan. So we'll talk about that here in the first segment coming up here in just a bit. Also, 12:25, we'll take a look around the American. After all the dust settled last night, Wichita State, despite the loss, still in pretty good shape. And are you glass half full or glass half empty after the results last night? We'll tell you about that at 12:25. And also, Memphis and UNT play tonight. So as I mentioned yesterday, y'all Shocker fans probably ought to be pulling for North Texas in that game tonight, as if, as a texter pointed out, we need another reason to root against Memphis. But that would help Wichita State out if you want a scoreboard watch and you want to check out UNT and Memphis tonight. So we'll talk about that coming up at 12:25. And then 12:45-ish, we've got our Twitter tournament, round 4, trying to find out who makes the finals in our Tom Hanks movie tournament. And we'll have the 4 finalists up there tomorrow. We'll talk to you about that then. And then at 1 o'clock, K-State is completely unraveled, and they are forcing us to talk about them, and it's not good. And we have gone full circle in reverse when it comes to Jerome Tang's reaction after yet another loss. I'll explain coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. And then at 1:25, talk to Jamie Bluma. We'll switch to Major League Baseball with pitchers and catchers in the mix already down in Florida and Arizona. We'll talk baseball with Jamie Bluma. He's brought to you by CBD American Shaman Derby in Wichita. And then I'm old Jack Young at the end of the show. And then just kind of pull the curtain back, let you know what you're in for if you're in it for the long haul. We appreciate you if you are. I want to point that out. If you are a regular listener to this station, we love you for it. And if you hang in there after my show and listen to the Pulse, all the better. Appreciate you for doing that. But Jack and I will have the first couple of segments of the Pulse in for Chance, who's in for Pat. But we still have some good stuff for you. Maybe I'll preview that for you as this show progresses. But that's what we're going to talk about from now until 2 o'clock. And we invite your participation, however you want to do it. But most notably, text. Curtis in Lenexa has done so. He said, credit to USF for taking it to WSU physically in the second half. Coach Mills said after the game about being minus 12 and rebounding that they'll go over it in today's film study today. Sounds like it should be, quote, fun, end of quote. Yeah, thank you, Curtis. And I guess that's where we'll start. They were really stifled in the second half of the game last night to the tune of 40-25 and lost the game 66-58. And they couldn't buy a basket, first of all. In the I want to say the end of the game, they were 2 for their last 17. And from my perspective, I don't want to sound like I'm carrying Wichita State's water here, but South Florida mucked that game up, and they are a pretty basketball team 99% of the time. It was really hard. Well, it's hard to watch if you're a Shocker fan, but it was also hard to describe because going into that game last night, for those of you that listened to this show and gave you my preview and my 2 cents of what to watch for, and if you watched it on the Plus, thank you. We had all kinds of side slabs and little nuggets and bits of info of early in the ball game. We tried to give you a little look at each team's bio, how they got here, what they're like, and maybe what you can expect. Just some things on the Plus to enhance the game. And one of those little bits of info was South Florida's dominance in the American in so many offensive and pretty categories. Free throws shot, free throws made, 3-pointers attempted, assist to turnover ratio, offensive rebounding. They are tops in the American in all those. And we talk a lot about Wichita State's top 5 standing in the country in offensive rebounding, and that's true. South Florida's 3rd. They're actually better at Wichita State than better at Wichita State in offensive rebounding. And so going into the game with them averaging 90 a game, with them topping 100 5 times, topping 95.7 times, the mental gymnastics for you, if you're a Shocker fan, was, all right, how do we hold them down? Or how do we match them kind of like they did in Tampa a month ago? Or is it going to be something else? Will it be an X factor? And it turned out to be really none. Wichita State held USF 24 points below their average last night. 66. If I would have told you that coming into the game last night, and you're a Shocker fan, man, you'd be high on the hog today or run into your DraftKings account if I told you that USF's only going to get to 66. Now, keeping in mind, maybe it's not a total surprise because the Shockers gave up 85 down in Tampa, but that was in overtime. So if that game would have ended in regulation one way or the other, then USF would have been at least in the teens below their season average then. But all that went by the wayside because the Shockers got whipped on the boards in the second half and couldn't throw it in the ocean in the second half. And I'm with Curtis, and I think I speak for Curtis after that first sentence or so, that USF really took it to Wichita State. And that's not an indictment on the Shockers, but it's just you got to give credit to the other guys because they get paid to try too. And they dug in after they were trailing by 7 at the break. I wouldn't say everything was going Wichita State's way in the first half, but they led for all but 33 seconds. USF had a 2-0 lead, and that was it. But there were some signs that all's not well. Shockers only shot 36% from the floor in the first half, and they held South Florida to 40%, but they got up 8 more shots because USF couldn't hang on to the ball. Wes Ennis, one of their guards, turned it over 5 times in the first half. And on average, Bulls turn it over about 11 times a game, turned it over 12 times in the first half, and shot 1 of 8 from 3. So you could take that 2 ways. Number one, they ain't going to do that in the second half. That's one subscription for you. They're not going to turn it over 12 more times, and they're not only going to make 1 3 in the second half. Or Wichita State's really doing something right. That's a hell of a scout. They got something here. win this thing, take care of the next 20 minutes, on to Tulsa, maybe pack the house for the Golden Hurricane, and strap in for Shocks v. Hurricane, 6:00 Saturday night. Don't be late. But it didn't happen that way at all. Shockers shot 28% from the floor in the second half. And I'm getting a little reaction from some of my friends that instant message me or know my number about Shockers playing hero ball in the second half. I'm not exactly sure what the difference was as far as shot selection between the first half and the second half, other than USF got up in them, man. And if you watch that game and maybe didn't watch it that close, you get the time. I know not everybody has the time, but maybe rewatch it. And maybe even if you did, or if you rewatch it again, you won't be able to see what I saw from midcourt. And that's a tremendous amount of physicality. And I know the Shockers got taken to task for not meeting Tulsa's physicality by Paul Mills after that game. But I didn't think there was necessarily any backing down from USF last night, but they just played better through contact than Wichita State did. And that happens. And I know it's hindsight being perfect, but if I told you they'd split with USF the regular season, you'd probably take it. But USF, I thought, just took it away from Wichita State last night. It wasn't a meltdown. Shockers didn't throw it to them. Shockers didn't foul them, 25 times. They close, 21, but a lot of that was when they had to. And for the game, USF is only 17 of 28 from the free throw line. Poorer percentage than their season average, fewer times made on their season average, and they only shot 5 of 18 from three. But this was a defensive game, and nobody saw that coming. And I don't want to say that it's, get them next time. But, man, there was no real freedom of movement for anybody on that floor for 40 minutes. It was a tough watch unless you like defense and physicality and rebounding. But that was the other thing, too. In the second half, USF whooped Wichita State on the boards. And they only had 4 offensive rebounds in the first half. And I mentioned their ability to grab their own misses, among the best in the nation. Well, they turned that around in a big way in the second half. 10 offensive rebounds in the second half versus only 4 in the first. And they turned it over 6 times in the second half versus 12 in the first. And Paul Mills said it after the game. Well, he said a couple things, and we'll hear from him coming up a little later on in the day. But when they get out rebounded, they lose. That's a statistical fact. When they get out rebounded by the opposition, they lose. When they don't, they win. And we're deep enough into the game that's a viable, legitimate thing. And especially the way Wichita State offensive rebounds. When they are plus on the boards, generally that's going to mean that they have more offensive rebounds. And that was pretty much a wash at the end of the game. And you expected it to be. Shockers were +1 on the offensive glass. But -6 for the game, -12 in the half. You get out rebounded by 12 in a 20-minute span, you're not going to win that 20-minute span. And it just so happened that was the entire second half. Mills also mentioned game honors toughness. He didn't think they were tough enough. And I would agree to a certain extent, but I would also chalk it up to USF's a good team, and they just out-toughed Wichita State. That didn't mean Wichita State was soft or didn't play tough. Bulls played tougher. That's coming from me. That's my opinion. You may disagree, and I'd love to hear your thoughts if you got them. Texas says, how many times are we going to throw it in on an inbound play under the basket to Berg before we realize he's not going to catch it? He's not going to make it. We must have tried half a dozen times last night. Didn't work. There was also a lot of times that they tried to feed the post. I say a lot of times, I'd have to go back and look at the tape, but where either he got it late in the shot clock or he got a pass thrown to his shins. There was a lot of that going around. And a lot of that by South Florida last night too. And that game looked like the loser of the game was going to have its season come to an end. Almost everybody was sped up in that thing. Both teams. Now, I'm not just saying Wichita State. It looked like a conference tournament game that if you win, you go on, and if you lose, you go home. Nobody seemed to play relaxed, and that, it's a credit to both defenses, I suppose. But there was some real turnover-itis by a lot of the primary ball handlers, and Wichita State's post players didn't have their best day. Most notably, Emmanuel Okorafor. He was scoreless in only 9 minutes, and that forced Will Berg to play the rest of the time. And I will say this about Will Berg. He's dominated USF on the glass in both games. Say what you want about him. He gets criticized. But Will Berg had 28 rebounds and 14 of them offensive against USF. So I don't want to say he's above reproach, but he was the only guy that was a positive and plus minus last night. So, yeah, the texter maybe criticizing Berg a little bit on inbounds plays, but they didn't exactly set him up for success either. A lot of the times. But when you finish a game with 13 rebounds and you draw 4 fouls, you drew 5 fouls, then you're playing big boy basketball. But that being said, you probably can't have Karan Boyd going scoreless. And I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card. He had 7 games in a row where he'd scored in double figures. And you could pretty much pencil him in for 12 points, 7 rebounds. But he was 0 for 6 last night and played 38 minutes. Picked a bad game to have a bad game. Everybody else was pretty ordinary. Kenyon Giles had 24 points, but it took him 22 shots to get there. He was 1 out of his first 6, I think, from 3. He heated up a little bit after that. But USF imposed its will very impressively. And you turn the page and move on to the Tulsa game. If you have thoughts that are different than mine, I welcome them. 316-247-0923. We're going to keep the shocker talk going kind of in the next segment. So you still have time to weigh in if you want, and you want me to react to what you think, you certainly can. Because we'll take a look around the American in the next segment and either be happy about the goings on last night, or we're going to look back and rue the day that we didn't beat South Florida. You can look at it one of two ways. I have my way. We'll let it know if it aligns with your way when we look around at the scoreboard and what happened last night in the American. Because lest we forget, first place was on the line last night. Shockers had won 5 of 6 going to that game last night. It wasn't like USF wasn't playing good basketball, because they were. They just beat Tulsa in their most recent game out. But it was an outlier last night. Even the most critical of Shocker fans would admit last night was an outlier. Normally, they're a great rebounding team. Normally, at home, they hold serve. They were 10-2 at home going into the game last night. Normally, Karan Boyd is incredibly reliable. None of those things happened last night. And I would chalk it up to USF as much as anything. Now, detractors might say, this is a NBA team, USF. They score 90 a game. How can we be throwing out flowers that Wichita State only scored 25 points in the second half? I mean, some of the shot selection critics out there, have you watched Kenyon Giles all year? He shoots 40% from three and has limitless range and is not afraid to shoot it over 7-footers. It just so happened the ball wasn't going to the basket last night. But there have been plenty of games where he shoots, and I want to single him out specifically. But if that's who you're talking about, like hero ball or being impatient and firing up shots, he's had games where you'd say no, 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 yes. And he ends up with 25 or 27 or 23, makes his first 4 threes, gets on a heat check and never gets off of it. This didn't happen last night, man. For him. Now, again, if you're not critical of him, then I'm not talking to you. But it was a rock fight last night, and one in which I don't think any of us thought we'd see. Now, on the bright side, individually, and you got to squint a little bit, Michael Gray Jr. kind of bounced back from a 4-game slump where he had a hard time finding the basket too. He wasn't great last night offensively, 4 out of 13 from the floor, but he had 9 rebounds and 6 assists and only 2 turnovers in a game where Dre Kendall didn't play much and didn't add much when he was out there. So, it was a clunker last night, but I'm chalking it up to South Florida. Not that they're better. You could argue they are a little bit, analytics-wise, but they played better last night. And as another coach in the state famously says, sometimes it comes down to you making the other team play a little worse than you do that night. And that's what USF did. Painful as it is, you move on, you take care of Tulsa, and then you look around at 8:15 Saturday night. I think you'd take your chances. We'll look a little bit further ahead coming up in the next segment. We'll also let you know what happened last night in the American that could have vastly benefited the Shockers if they'd won, but they didn't. But I also would counter with, well, it's better than the alternative. We'll give you the details next when we come back. It's 12:29.
You're listening to the Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
Every once in a while you find something that you don't know how you ever lived without. And that's me and meat from Booth Creek Wagyu. It started out as a special occasion meal idea, and it's really evolved. For example, I got a buddy that went to the Super Bowl party, and I do each and every year, and go over there a lot and watch golf or just regular Chiefs games. And I turned him on to Booth Creek Wagyu, and he and his family have gone the ribeye for Christmas dinner route ever since too. But now when we get together, watch football or golf, watch the WM Open for the Super Bowl, or an occasion similar, I always swing by Booth Creek Wagyu. And you can make any occasion a Booth Creek occasion. And I promise you, if you go there once, you're going to go back for more. Elevate your beef with Booth Creek Wagyu, 21st and Webb Road. Ask for Jeannie. And especially at this time of the year, she'll hook you up with, if you have a significant other, the Sweetheart Surf and Turf box. You can either get 2 fillets, that's the elegant box, or 2 ribeyes, that's the bold box. And they both come with lobster tails. So either bold or elegant, it's a perfect choice for you lovebirds that want a rich, indulgent steakhouse experience. It's an unmatched farm-to-table experience. Go to boothcreekwagyu.com, place your order, and don't forget, it's going to warm up. It's going to be spring here before you know it. So if you want to tailgate or just elevate your game altogether, they have changed the way I eat beef, and they'll do the same for you. Tailgating, hosting, or just an evening in, like Valentine's Day, which is coming up. Let Booth Creek Wagyu make every occasion feel special. 21st and Webb or boothcreekwagyu.com.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
Are you tired of replacing your roof every 5 years? AR Roofing has permanent solutions for you. AR offers both stone-coated steel and indestructible rubberized roofing options, reducing your insurance premiums and promising this is the last roof you'll ever need installed. Contact them for a no-pressure consultation and learn how AR Roofing can help you protect your home from hail, wind, and storm damage today. Affordable financing options available. Contact them at 316-242-0214 or on their website at arroofing.com.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. Hog Wild, get some for you.
Hog Wild Pit Barbecue has a great meal you're going to love.
Hey, Jack.
It's an open-faced hot beef sandwich.
If your
Here's
team
Josh
loses
Wisnick,
and everybody
partner
else in
and
the
general
league
manager
loses
at Hog
too,
Wild's
are you mad
47th and
or
South
are you
Broadway
like, well,
location to
could
tell
have been
you more.
worse?
Our open-faced hot beef sandwich plate at Hog Wild Pit Barbecue is like
If
no
I
other.
was in
We start with our
Wichita
grilled
State
Texas
spot,
toast,
I'd be
add a
mad
scoop of
because I know
creamy
there's
mashed
not much
potatoes,
time left.
Load up
Uh-huh.
some of our tender Hog Wild smoked beef
If I
brisket,
had-
and top it
if I
with
was
our
like,
tasty brown gravy.
for
It's
example,
absolutely delicious.
if
Come give it a try.
KU
Hog
loses on
Wild's
Saturday
open-faced
and
hot
then
beef
like
sandwich
Arizona
plate
and Houston
sounds like
lose,
quite a meal. So come
I'd
and
be
get
like,
it. 6
no
locations
harm,
in
no foul.
Wichita. Also in Derby, El
Well, that's kind of the
Dorado,
same way with Wichita
Hutchinson,
State, though.
and
They still have
Salina.
to play Temple. They still get to play Tulsa this weekend, so they can still take care of their own business, you know? They didn't lose a game to those guys.
They'll probably need to win out, would they not, to be on the bubble?
They'd have to do more than
Sean
that.
Turbo with
I don't
Davis
think they
Moore
can get on the
Chevrolet.
bubble.
And this February, you are
They'd
gonna
have to
love
win the
the
conference
huge
tournament.
savings we have on
What we're
trucks
talking
and
about
SUVs.
here is getting to
Check
the
out the
top
all-new
2 seeds so you can get a
2026
double
Chevy
bye to the
Silverado
semis
1500 crew cab
to at least give yourself a
4x4
shot
and
to
save up
win the tournament. You know what I mean?
$12,000 off MSRP or get 1.9% financing. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on the 2025 Chevy Equinox EV RS all-wheel drive. Go farther and drive smarter. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus tax, and administrative fees expire March 2nd, 2026.
The 2026 NBA All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
The NBA is going back to the USA versus World format. 3 teams that consist of 8-man rosters. 2 of those rosters will be made of American players, and the 3rd roster will be made of international players.
The 2026 NBA All-Star Game.
Coverage begins Sunday at 4 on your home for the NBA playoffs. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Doobie Brother and also Solo Dude. Welcome back for all those that caught that reference. Salute. It's 12:35 here on a Thursday, an elongated Shane Dennis show, kind of, sort of. I'll give you the deets coming up here in a while. But we continue on with the American talk. Shockers missed a chance to tie for first last night. If they'd have won, they would have been. So here's the question. Should you really be extra bummed considering what happened, or should you be like, well, it's better than the alternative? That's the question of this segment. Because here's what's happened. Here's what happened last night. You had 2 bottom feeders playing. Perhaps neither will make the tournament, in UTSA and East Carolina. Side note here, Wichita State still has road trips to East Carolina and to UTSA. Now, UTSA won that game last night by 16, but that's not the point of this particular sidebar. ECU's 3-8 in the American. UTSA is 0-12. Those two got three bottom teams in the league don't make the tournament. They are 2 of the 3 that are down there. Now, I know you still got to go on the road and nothing's a given. But Wichita State, when they go to those places, need to win those games. They will be favored to do so. And I think you would take that over the alternative there. But that's story for the next couple of weeks. In the games that really mattered to Wichita State, for teams directly surrounding them or around them, they all lost. Temple which was 7-3 in the league before last night, lost to Tulane. So they're now 7-4. They remain a half game ahead of Wichita State in the standings. But if Wichita State had won, they'd be 8-4 and Temple would be 7-4. Temple comes to Wichita later on this year. Florida Atlantic, which was 6-5 in the league, and not a direct threat to Wichita State because, you know, they're a game behind them in the standings, but them losing would have helped because they played Rice. Rice was 4-7 before last night. Rice beat FAU. So now the Owls, Florida Atlantic that is 6-6 in the American. But Wichita State could have distanced themselves from FAU if they'd have won. So in other words, the team you ought to have been rooting for last night in that game won. In the Battle of the Owls, Rice won. That benefited Wichita State a little. Here's the big one. UAB went to Tulsa and won. Tulsa is now 8-4. UAB is now 7-5. Wichita State has the tiebreaker on UAB because they beat them head to head. And had Wichita State won, they would be tied with Tulsa for first, heading into a showdown on Saturday at Charles Koch Arena, with the winner being all alone in first place, no matter what happened on Saturday around them. But it didn't happen that way. And my initial takeaway after seeing as Wichita State's chances went by the boards with 0-0s at Koch Arena last night, and looking at all the other scores, if I'm a Shocker, I'm pretty uplifted. Now, I get it if you're not, and I was on a couple of text threads with people that weren't. Like, that was a huge opportunity missed, and we need to win games like that, and this and that, which I'll listen to. But would you rather all those other teams won? Now you're one full game worse than you would have been with the results that happened last night. And I say that because 4 of the teams directly above Wichita State in the standings, they play down the stretch. They're running out of games, yes. They only have 5 left. Yeah, maybe 6. But anyway, 6. They play Tulsa at home. They play Memphis on the road. They played Tulsa Saturday at home. And they just played USF, so I misspoke. But 3 of the 4 ahead of them, they still have yet to play. And 2 of those games are at home. They get Tulsa at home. They go to East Carolina. I already told you about them. If the season ended today, their season would be ended. And then Temple at home. UTSA on the road. UTSA is 4-20. Keep in mind. And then they have Florida Atlantic at home to end the season. 2 of the road trips, 2 of the 3 are against 2 worst teams in the league. The other one's Memphis. And Memphis, that's a hard place for a lot of teams to win, including Wichita State. But the Shockers already drummed the Tigers at Koch Arena last week. So my takeaway here, and you tell me if you disagree, Shocker fan, 316-247-0923. Are you, well, could have been worse last night, or damn, we could be in first place right now? I would listen to both, but I would lean toward could have been worse. Would you rather Temple won and they're 8-3? Would you rather Tulsa won and they're 9-3? Now that would mean South Florida, if the Shockers won, would be 8-4 and tied with Wichita State. But there would be fewer games to outdo the teams that are ahead of them left if they would have all won. Now, Charlotte didn't play this week, play on the weekend. And Memphis plays UNT tonight. That's a standalone American game tonight. Memphis is a half game ahead of Wichita State in the standings. They're 7-4, about to play their 12th game. Shockers, of course, 7-5. North Texas 4-7 and 13-11 overall. They have already played once, and that game was at Memphis. The game tonight is at the Super Pit in Denton. It is a coin flip game, according to Vegas. So if you want to watch that game, you know what to do, Shocker fans. Get your Tiger voodoo dolls out and hope for the best. Again, disappointing outcome last night if you're a Shocker fan, but, and I don't know if this should make you feel any better. I'll throw this out there too. It's not like it came down to one thing, one play, or one area, besides rebounding. I guess you could count on that it's like, God, we had them. Well, you didn't have them. Shots weren't falling. And as I said in the first segment, Bulls played a little tougher than Wichita State did. And again, in this particular case, that's not an indictment on Wichita State. That second half at Tulsa, that was. And I said it at the time. You'd have a hard time with nobody out there going 17 for 20 from 2. And that's what Tulsa did to Wichita State a couple of weeks ago down at the Reynolds Center. I was critical then. Not as much last night. It's just a game won by South Florida. And I think it can be deemed as simple as that. Now, there are some of you radical fans that will never make it as simple as that. But I'm not going to tell you how to be a fan. But that's just how I saw it last night without rewatching it. But I doubt if I do rewatch it, I would change my mind. But that's where I come out on that. 316-247-0923. We need to get to the Twitter question. We'll do that in the next segment. We also need to get to the mess in Manhattan that has gotten worse each of the last 2 games. And we've gotten to a level that I never thought we'd get to, even though I think we've all admitted that K-State's been an abject disaster this year. Well, wait till you hear what Jerome Tang had to say last night, and wait till you hear what Cincinnati did to him at Bramlage and what some of the fans were wearing at Bramlage. We'll talk about that at 1 o'clock. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to pile on. But, man, Jerome Tang seems like he's in over his head. And he has bungled the explanations, maybe even worse, in succession for about the last 4 or 5 post-game pressers. So we'll talk about that at 1 o'clock. We'll hear the very, very abbreviated post-game presser that he had last night, the mandate that he gave the Manhattan media as he sat down. And we'll discuss that coming up at 1 o'clock. We'll talk to Jamie Bluma coming up at 1:25. We'll talk a little college baseball Hall of Fame. And we also talk about pitchers and catchers reporting. We both love that topic. So we'll talk about that coming up at 1:25. He's brought to you by CBD American Shaman, Derby, and Wichita. Life is better with the feather. A little baseball chat later on. And then I'm old Jack Young at the end of the show. And normally we would hand the ball off to Pat Strathman, who is the host of The Pulse. And he would normally regale us with his comments, thoughts, and humor from 2:02 until 3:57. And if not Pat, we would normally have Chance Lebo, who fills in for Pat, in setting in, and we'll have a little crosstalk with him, have a little fun, have a little banter during I'm old Jack Young, and then he would take the pulse from 2 to 4 or thereabouts. But what's going to happen instead, I will hang around, Jack will hang around for a while, and we will take take the pulse ourselves. We won't pass the baton. We'll just hang on to it. And we will have a little shocker audio coming up at 2:00. We will recap that in case you can't hang around from 12:15 all the way to 2:02 and you missed our shocker takes. Won't totally rehash those at 2:02, but we will let you hear from Paul Mills and his reaction to the game last night and what he thought. So we'll have some shocker audio coming up in the 2:00 segment. And then we will pivot from there and we'll have a little KU basketball conversation. Brian Haney will be in the second segment of the 2:00 hour. And we'll give away some things as well coming up in the first hour of the Pulse. And then eventually Chance will meander on in here and he'll give you his thoughts on the state of the K-State basketball program. And he will talk to Kevin Saul coming up at 3:25. He's scheduled this afternoon. So he will have his perception and his view of Shocker Talk. We'll go pretty much straight to the horse's mouth, the AD at WSU after the game last night. So Kevin Saul will join Chance coming up in the 3:00 hour. And then normal fare after that on a Thursday with the Pulse. So it's going to sound a little bit different, but we will still have same old kind of stuff, same good interviews, same good banter, and a little different perspective from Chance Lebo, who's K-State guy. See what he thought about the abject disaster that was Cincinnati 91, K-State 62 inside Bramlage Coliseum. So we'll have a lot of thoughts on that coming up in the 1:00 hour and then again in the 3:00 hour. Make sure you don't miss that. And if you do, head on over to the podcast page. So any of our takes that we've had that you are very much looking forward to, but weren't able to catch first time around, then go to the podcast after the fact, maybe a little bit later on this afternoon or tonight, and you can listen at your leisure and get our takes on all the things that went down last night, and there were a bunch. Right now, though, it's time to give away $30 in Kansas Lottery X Games scratch tickets. Call 316-669-4996 for your chance to do that. Twitter, next.
You're listening to the Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita.
Saying hello to everyone enjoying a great day at one of the Kansas Pace Centers. Whether your loved one is staying active with social activities, catching up with friends, receiving therapies, or getting medical support, Kansas Pace provides expert care in a warm, welcoming place they'll love. And while they're supported, you get peace of mind and time to handle your own responsibilities. Kansas Pace truly is a partner for families caring for aging parents. Learn more at kansaspace.org.
Gillies Park City is open, and the legendary Hockey Talk is bringing the heat this February. 13 nights of live music that moves you. See Stoney LaRue February 13th, Jared Neiman February 14th, and country icon Lori Morgan on February 19th. And see a whole lot more live concerts. Check playgillies.com for full February lineup. Come play, cut loose, and feel the energy you can only get at Gillies, where the stars come to play. Minutes north of Wichita in Park City. Get the full lineup now at playgillies.com.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
Your home's in your hands, you build it.
Have you ever dreamed of owning a custom home or love your home, but your kitchen or bathroom just isn't quite right? You Build It Wichita helps you build or remodel smarter, saving you thousands compared to traditional builders and contractors while putting you in control of your project. Join them at a free home building and remodeling seminar Thursday, February 12th at 6:30 at Shields. They will walk you through the You Build It process and host a live Q&A with real past clients. It's free, informative, and could save you thousands. Reserve your seat today by visiting the You Build It Wichita Facebook page. That's Thursday, February 12th at 6:30 at Shields. Build smarter. Build with You Build It Wichita.
Your home's in your hands. You build it.
Wichita's new sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
And the winner is Wilson Phillips.
By current Chiefs wide receiver Tyquan Thornton. This offseason, they passed Austin. I'm like, I'm not a practice squad guy. Though.
They offered me.
So I worked, and came in spring ready
These
to
fries
go.
are good.
Made the team. My thing wasn't about making the team. It was about like going out.
Love him so much. Why don't you marry him?
Wichita's home for Chiefs coverage. ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
I know this pain. Why do you lock yourself up in these chains? No one can change your life except
China Phillips, born today. 12:53, time for round 4 of our Tom Hanks movie Twitter tournament. We whittled them down to 14 or 16 rather. Of course, that's how you do a week-long tournament on Twitter. That's how we do it anyway. And John points out on Twitter, I'll tell you the 4 that you got to pick from today, that there's a handful of movies that didn't make the cut that maybe you could have, although I think John would even agree that those movies didn't deserve to be in the top 16. But the fact that he's got a catalog that big, that he's got 16 movies that are worthy of being anybody else's best ever, and he's got a bunch of others didn't make it. I could probably make an argument, and it's maybe more of a cult following than it is. It kicked ass at the box office, although I'm talking out of my, because I don't know the numbers. But I feel like maybe could have put Catch Me If You Can in there. Jack, you've seen Catch Me If You Can with Hanks and Leo, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe just maybe that's as much about Leo DiCaprio being in it as opposed to Tom Hanks. But John, who's a really good follower and contributor on Twitter and listener, Joe versus a Volcano, Bachelor Party, Catch Me If You Can, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Sully, and Road to Perdition, all movies with Tom Hanks in it, and none of those made the cut. So just kind of gives you an idea of like I said, the vast catalog that Tom Hanks has enjoyed. And Jack, have you seen The Wonders? Oh, That Thing You Do, that one?
I can't say I have.
Where he's the record producer and he comes along this group of they're kind of a boy band, but they're a little older. And
I actually have not.
Liv Tyler is in it, and there are a bunch of other like no names. They're the members of the band. It's quite good. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's not necessarily a rom-com or a chick flick, but kind of sort of. It's called That Thing You Do. It's kind of good. But anyway, here are the 4 that we got for you to partake in. It's the last 4 before the final 4 coming up tomorrow. Here they are. League of Their Own, the Toy Story movies, it's plural, Philadelphia, or the Polar Express. Our very own Chance Lebo waited on the Polar Express, calling it the worst Christmas movie to ever exist. Jack, do you have any opinion whatsoever, one way or the other, about Polar Express? Because I will, full disclosure, admit I've never seen the Polar Express.
Oh, you haven't?
Never.
As a kid, it was fine, not great. It was always in the Christmas rotation. I would say in today's, like my experiences through Christmas, my traditions, I don't watch it. There's some weird parts of the movie. The animation's a bit weird. There's some catchy sing-along songs. But in terms of the worst holiday movie ever, dare I say what my number one is? I shouldn't do that to myself again. It ain't Polar Express, I'll tell you that. It's not my favorite. It's just mediocre, I would say. I'm not going to champion it. I'm also not going to stomp all over it.
So it's meh. It's just okay.
Yeah, I think it's meant to. It's quick. I'm pretty sure it's like an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, well, that's right up Chance's alley. He complains about movies that are 2 hours and a half long nowadays. He'd never make it through JFK, first of all, or Schindler's List, or all the movies I feel like back in my day, late 90s, early 2000s, those were all 245 or more. But anyway, so far, League of Their Own is lapping the field. It's a tie for second or last, however you want to look at it. That's how lopsided this is for League of Their Own. So we are very close to having the Final Four, the Mount Rushmore of Tom Hanks movies, coming up tomorrow or later on this afternoon or whatever you want to call it. So heads up for that tomorrow at ESPN Wichita. The contestants will be, we know 3 of them, and we have an idea who the 4th is going to be. Still got 3 hours to vote if you haven't voted for this quartet. But the ones that survived were my own personal top 3 seeds. Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan, Green Mile, and if everything stays the same, League of Their Own will join them tomorrow, and we will crown a champion, the best ever Tom Hanks movie, as suggested by our own Jack. So that comes your way later on tonight / early tomorrow. So check us out then for that. Just a heads up, speaking of tomorrow, I will be on location, although you can't come see me because I'll be out at X Stadium getting ready for Shocker baseball. So I'll be doing the show out there from noon to 2. And if nothing changes schedule-wise, we'll be looking at 3:05 first pitch for baseball tomorrow against Northern Colorado. It's baseball season, college baseball season. This time tomorrow, we'll have college baseball being played. And 26 hours from right now, we'll have Shocker baseball being played. Shockers in Northern Colorado at 3:05. And also the high school game of the week tomorrow night, it's Easton Heights. The aforementioned Chance will bring you that. So some hoops tomorrow night right here on the channel. And then Saturday, a huge day for us all to react to on Monday. And that would be Shocker baseball, weather permitting. KU Iowa State. That game's at noon at Hilton in Ames. We'll react and talk about that. And then Shockers in Tulsa at 6 o'clock. So all kinds of stuff to react to, overreact to, and maybe try to hash out sensibly, but can't make any promises. That's what's coming up this weekend. That's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. And that's what I'm going to be doing Saturday too. I'll be at the Shocker baseball game on Saturday. So for those of you that watch ESPN Plus and watch Wichita State and Tulsa Saturday night, I won't be there. So maybe that's good. Maybe that's not, but I'll be doing baseball. And so it won't be me doing the plus. I regret to inform you because, of course, I would love to be watching that game, and I still might be able to, depending on what happens with the weather at X Stadium. It's supposed to rain Saturday, so we will adjust if we have to. And then speaking of Monday, we'll react to all that. We'll also have Hawk Talk at 6 o'clock. So Bill Self, no doubt, will have thoughts on the Iowa State game. He had thoughts on the Darren Peterson situation. We'll tell you about that coming up in hour number 2. And we'll also play some audio, as brief as it is, that might define the Jerome Tang era in Manhattan. KU and K-State talk both next.
Wichita's sports leader. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. KKGQ Newton.
high school game of the week stays in the City League this week as rivals face off. Wichita Heights enters as one of the top teams in 6A, and they will look to stay hot as they take on Wichita East in what should be a thrilling matchup this Friday night. Tune in as pregame coverage starts at 7 o'clock with coverage of the high school game of the week presented by Commerce Bank at 7 o'clock on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
When it comes to money, what matters most to you? It's not an easy question because your answer can change at a moment's notice. At Commerce Bank, we have 160 years of helping people ask themselves that question and providing financial solutions that are tailored to your ever-changing wants and needs. From setting short-term goals to planning for your future, if it matters to you, it matters to us. And together, we'll find the answers that matter. Commerce Bank. Challenge accepted. Member FDIC.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. On that heavy shelf you hung yesterday, turns out you didn't use enough anchors. Wait, you didn't use any anchors? Now you've got an open floor plan. Trendy. And if you have the wrong home insurance, you could need a wall of money to fix this. So get home insurance with Allstate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Are you tired of replacing your roof every 5 years? AR Roofing has permanent solutions for you. AR offers both stone-coated steel and indestructible rubberized roofing options, reducing your insurance premiums and promising this is the last roof you'll ever need installed. Contact them for a no-pressure consultation and learn how AR Roofing can help you protect your home from hail, wind, and storm damage today. Affordable financing options available. Contact them at 316-242-0214 or on their website at arroofing.com.
Hey, it's Sean Tarbell with Davis Moore Chevrolet. And this February, you are going to love the huge savings we have on trucks and SUVs. Check out the all-new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT 4x4 and save up to $12,000 off MSRP. Or get 1.9% financing. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on the 2025 Chevy Equinox EV RS all-wheel drive. Go farther and drive smarter. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet. Or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus tax and administrative fees expired March 2nd, 2026.
Rejected! Swatted away by Flory!
Jayhawk fans, March Madness is coming to ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
KU's got it, and the Jayhawks will win!
The home of the Jayhawks, the Big 12 tournament, March Madness, the Final Four, and National Championship.
Number one takedown for the first time in Allen Fieldhouse history.
ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Before we get to the K-State mess, I want to finish up with the subject I broached at the end of the last segment regarding Bill Self. They take on Iowa State, of course, on Saturday. Another big game after a big game on Big Monday. But Bill Self did something that I don't recall him either doing very often or ever, and that's admitting that he's gone on Twitter to check out the narratives that are out there on Darren Peterson. And this, I promise you, it's not going to be a Darren Peterson segment, but Bill Self did admit that he went online to find out what's going on out there as far as perception, accusation, narratives, and the like. And he said, quote, this basically tells you everything you need to know. Quote, I've read some of the narratives out there. It's not remotely true. Was his hamstring legit? Hell yes. Was his cramping legit? Yes. Did he turn his ankle bad? Yes. He's had a string of bad luck. Those narratives are BS. End of quote. So maybe your reaction would be, what do you expect him to say? But at the very least, now you know that he is firmly behind Darren Peterson, and at least outwardly supportive of Peterson. And if he is getting worn down by this, or if this is splintering the locker room, then you'd never know it. And I've said this already. He's putting on a masterclass at how to handle this, because there can't be a blueprint or a pamphlet for it, because this kind of thing has never really happened before. And by that, I mean, you get a lottery pick, perhaps the first overall pick, and you have to deal with him playing about half the games and not finishing some of the games he did for reasons that appear fishy. But we're also not in the training room. We're also not in the locker room. And we're also not in the coach's office. So just wanted to throw that out there, that's Bill Self's response to what's floating around on the internet, and him kind of as a gangster a little bit, let's be honest, admitting he went looking for and fishing for narratives so he could respond to them. And not surprisingly, he shot them down. Speaking of shot down, last night in Manhattan, full disclosure, I wasn't able to watch it. I was busy. But Cincinnati strolled into Manhattan and killed Kansas State. As Shannon Sharp once famously said, somebody call the National Guard because we are killing the Patriots. Well, somebody should have called the Manhattan National Guard because Cincinnati was killing the Wildcats. It was 91-62. It was wire to wire. K-State was never part of that game. And Cincinnati, who had won all of 4 Big 12 games out of 11, pounded K-State, which is now 1-10 in the Big 12, losing its 5th in a row. And there are a couple of interesting, any way you slice it, sidebars to this particular game. Number one being some of the fans in attendance had paper bags over their heads in protest of either Tang, this team, or both. And it was a sight that I didn't think I'd see, honestly. And of course, I didn't see this coming, period. And not many people did. I've gone on record as admitting that I expected pretty good things out of K-State, an entertaining brand of basketball, not the train wrecky way like we saw last night. But I had to eat a little crow. I thought K-State was going to be fine, considering the collection of transfer portals they had and what they did in the non-con. And you look back at it now, how did they ever almost beat Nebraska? Because they almost did. But then after that, they kind of unraveled. And Edgerrin James, kid, scored 24 points for Cincinnati. And it was a bloodletting. The only bright spot, if there was one, PJ Haggerty almost got to 2,000 points in his career. He had 24. With 7 more, he'll join Graham Ike, Tucker DeVries, and Nigel Pack as the only active players with 2,000 points. How about that? Nigel Pack still hanging around. But the big takeaway, besides them going to Houston Saturday, was Jerome Tang's reaction, not only in the post-game interview with the Wildcat Radio Network, with a good friend of the station, Wyatt Thompson, but also with the media gathered. Jack, fire up that audio. If you haven't heard it, you might want to stick around and turn it up here for this. This is the very brief post-game presser from Manhattan after the Cats got stomped 91-62. Here's Jerome Tang.
Hey, I'm gonna honor Christ like I always do. Blessed to do this, but this was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. You know, it is it is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer and no words. So y'all got 2 questions. So whoever want to ask 2 questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, like I'm like pissed, and this is all right. Questions.
I guess it's kind of comes with puzzling if you look at your road and home splits, the last 4 road games have been down the wire, in front of the court. Just kind of explain that.
Yeah, I don't know. I asked the staff this week that same question, and they said that more the opponents. You play. I don't know, like because I followed Minnesota last year closely, and they played great on the road and struggled at home. So then they started staying in hotels at home, like treating it like a road game. And so I even talked about, hey, do we need to change that change? But like, no, none of that crap matter, man. These dudes got to have they got some pride, man. They got some pride. It means something to wear a K-State uniform. It means something to put on this purple, man. Our like everything this university is about and all that it's been about. Why I love this place, man. Like they don't love this place, so they don't deserve to be here.
Just what did you make of the student section with paper bags on their heads?
Yeah, I'd wear a paper bag too if I was them. Thanks a lot, fellas. God bless.
Well, there you have it. There was by far the most brief post-game presser offered up by that guy. Normally, his talking about his faith is longer than that presser was in its entirety right there. And that's not to take a shot at his faith, but it's true. And my takeaway from that is you have been, and I don't mean to give anybody unwanted lectures on how you handle press conferences, but he has done his press conferences in reverse, in the wrong order. That one should have came after the end of the Kansas game. And the one after the TCU game, as you recall, he's proud of his guys for even showing up. He probably should have done that one after the Arizona loss, 101-76, all those weeks ago. And he probably should have done I don't owe anybody anything, or this is not for the fans, maybe after the TCU game when everybody had the flu, according to him. So he's kind of done this in the wrong order. And for those saying, why would anybody show up at 6 a.m. this morning? My answer would be those guys are getting paid. You get paid to show up. And as misguided as Tang's ire has been, and weirdly in the wrong order, he's still their boss. And in order for them to get paid, they got to show up to go to work. And it just so happened that their boss decided that work starts at 6 o'clock this morning. But man, Jack, have you ever heard about or seen such dysfunction in the span of 24 games? Jerome Tang seems like he's in way over his head, and it has come to a head over about the last 3 weeks. And this sure seems like dead man walking in one way or another.
If I was a K-State player, I would have packed my bags, walked out the door, and maybe even shown up to practice at 6 a.m. just to give a middle finger and then leave. Because what have we seen this season, Shane? What have we seen from Jerome Tang? Whose fault is it?
Blame.
It's the officials' fault. It's the NCAA's fault. Hey, I got great guys here that are bought in. I love these guys, and you guys don't know what you're dealing with. 2 games later, I hate these guys. They don't deserve to be. Well, okay. So you talk about all this practice and preparation. He said after the Iowa State game, if you guys would have shown up to practice, you would have thought these guys are ready to go. And, they They're dealing with stuff. I mean, did everything possible to protect him.
Then he parked the bus on him.
Then you go and park the bus on. So did you recruit the right guys or did you not? And oh, by the way, you're the one who recruited them.
Mm-hmm.
This is not anybody else. It's you and your assistants that brought these guys in. What did you say at Big 12 Media Day, by the way? Oh, yeah, you had the best point guard in the country, the best shooter in the country, and the best athlete in the country. Do you still believe that? And this is why, if I was a K-State donor, I go, I don't want to hear it anymore. There's nothing you could tell me this offseason and spare me with the we'll have different guys in uniforms next year.
By the way,
did
you catch the part of the we're going to get it, and then he kind of stopped short of saying fixed, and then he couldn't figure out how to finish that sentence.
You're not getting it fixed. You're not. It's too late. It's too late. And you know who you have on Saturday? Houston on the road. I mean, if there was a worst time this was the worst time to do it. Because now you have, I mean, that was basically you threw your players to the wolves, whether they were trying hard or not. It's just clear they're not matched up well with anybody in the Big 12. The only team that they are better than is Utah, and that's not saying too much here. I mean,
if they played again tomorrow, I'd take Utah for sure.
Yeah, probably. If you that game was in Salt Lake, I would take Utah, and maybe if you played that game again in Bramlage, Utah would win. It's such a bad look on you as a coach, whether there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. I think he crossed the line last night. I really do. To go out there and say these guys don't like it here, they don't deserve to wear the uniform, that's propping yourself up. Like, I love it here and I know what it takes to be here. These guys who I brought in, they don't get it. Don't be mad at me, be mad at them. And then it's this backhanded, like, well, I'm the one who brought him here, so you can put that blame at my. No, you're throwing these kids under the bus that you were just championing a few games ago, maybe a week and a half ago.
What do you think he was trying to accomplish there? Or was he just stream of consciousness spouting off and he wasn't trying to accomplish anything?
It's always this sales technique. It's always to have this. And I will say this being a part of media, and I know you are as well. And I have to touch on this because I would not be doing my job if I wouldn't. What he did to Wyatt Thompson last night is such a disgrace to the profession and for a guy that's making that much money. Okay, you've got people there that are also trying to do a job.
And to be fair, for those that don't know, he basically said the same thing, only about half as long, right?
He didn't even he sat down, did 20 seconds, and walked off. Didn't even give a chance to ask another question. Here's what I would say to that. Is yes, if I come across as biased, I absolutely do, because I just said I'm a part of media. But there are people that show up and they have a job to do as well, and they're getting paid to do that job. And Wyatt Thompson's been there a hell of a lot longer than you have. So you can spare a couple of minutes to answer some questions of a disastrous display that you put on. And it's not just the players. You're the one who game planned for them. And to come down there and sit down and throw your players under the bus and then leave and then do the same thing. And, oh, by the way, say, you guys have 2 questions and I might answer them or I might not. And then to scoff at one of the questions about the home and road splits because he's so mad at his team. Like, that is all such a display, in my opinion. It's just this scene to cause to show how much you care. And he's been doing it far too long. And I know a ton of K-State fans that aren't buying this charade anymore. And yeah, if you're fed up about the fan, of course, then he doesn't attack the student section for putting the bag. Or I'd do it too, right? Because he knew that'd be a bad look if he targeted the students for not supporting when they're 10 and 14. But really, after a game like that, you can question the effort. There's a delicate way of putting it, even if you're really mad. It's, we'll have practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I'm not pleased with that effort. We're not going to be doing that here. To go in on the care level and they don't deserve to wear the jersey and there's few guys that are going to be back this year. I mean, come on now. I mean, we don't know what's happening behind closed doors, so maybe I'm in the wrong in doing that. And maybe these guys are bad-mouthing him and they're not trying in practice and this and that. What we can say is the obvious statement here. They're not a good basketball team. They're not going to beat these teams that are better than them.
And I think it's also clear they're not well coached. We can say that now.
Yeah, they're not well coached. And it's been that way for 3 years now. You can't spin it when you have one of the most expensive rosters in the country. You're recruiting, you're either a bad recruiter, you're a great salesman. We know that because you're getting the money to recruit these guys to come in. And that's on you. but you can't do this spiel and go back and forth on, I love these guys, I hate these guys, I love these guys, I hate these guys, because who's going to want to come play for you? That, to me, I mean, we know that his job is in the gutter now at K-State. I mean, there's just, that to me seemed like, I know I'm on my way out. I'm burning everything down on my way out. I mean, you can say how much you love Manhattan. You completely trashed your team with 7 games to go.
Well, you're not setting yourself up for your future by doing that, though. And I doubt he stopped to think about that, because he was 180 the other way around. Mr. Positive, Mr. Salesman, Mr. Over the Top. You know, I love these guys. And now it's, I hate these guys. And so regardless of where he's going to be next year, who's going to want to take that on?
Yeah. And that's where you just took yourself out of a lot of job runnings, unless you have a program that just wants somebody who can bring in high level talent. But that's been the issue. You're bringing in high level talent. You're not winning basketball games. Maybe somebody in a lesser conference in the Big 12 can do that. But I really did think that it was an unprofessional way of doing things. And I'm not saying that players are completely blameless. As I said, I'm not in those practices. Maybe these guys aren't trying. Maybe they do have a bad attitude, and I get that. But you're 24 games into the season. If you would, from the first time things started spiraling, bring that up and be like, yeah, we got some guys here that just aren't bought in. We're going to get that fixed. Remember Chris Beard? Not saying Chris Beard's a great role model to look at here.
Sure.
Remember him completely blasting his team early on in the season of like, we're going to get that fixed. You know, we're going to stop playing some of these guys. We're going to be benching some of these guys. That, to me, if you're going to be harsh and critical, that is a way of doing it with still hope on the horizon. Now, Ole Miss has not been good this year. They have not progressed since that tirade that Chris Beard went on.
Mm-hmm.
This, to me, I do that when I get eliminated in Kansas City. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, some of these guys, they're not, well, it doesn't matter. You're not playing anymore. If I'm a player, unless you're motivated that way of hearing your coach say, I'm running half these guys, more than half these guys. I mean, who is that too? I'm curious. I mean, I know there's some guys.
These guys better show me which ones of them want to be back and which don't. And we're going to do that tomorrow at 6 a.m. Right?
Yeah, and maybe if that's the logic, but in the current landscape of college sports, I'm not doing that. I mean, you just called me out in front of everybody, and what you haven't done. I mean, you've taken the blame in the way every coach does of, put that on me.
Mhm.
I didn't have them ready.
I didn't have them ready. Yep.
Such a weak way of doing it, in my opinion. And it's always just somebody else. It's somebody else. And to me, last night, it was kind of a, you blow up and you make those mistakes. And hey, nobody's perfect out there. I thought, though, there were a lot of people that were collateral damage that didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
And more so from the media side of it, people that spent money to go to the game. Like, that was an embarrassment. You can be embarrassed for your fans and the donors and everybody involved with K-State here. But you're not the only one out there that, took time to be at that game, to work, to stay there late and do that. And to me, to do all of this charade stuff and to do this, to make a scene, to show how much you care, I thought it was unprofessional. I really did. And I'm not going to, call any names here. I'm not going to do that. I really thought that it was unprofessional. And it's also a 180 from what you were telling media. Because remember that, too. We even forgot to discuss that. He was kind of criticizing the media when he was protecting his players and saying, you guys don't know anything. You guys don't know what's going on. It doesn't matter what I say because you're going to clip what you
That's
want
right.
to.
Yeah.
And then you go this way, trash your team, give the media 2 questions and say, I may answer them. It's like, I'll answer them the best of my ability, and then walk out. And the post-game interview on radio, you give Wyatt Thompson and Stan Weber 20 seconds. You don't even get a follow-up. Like, yeah, maybe he was leaving. He was hot-headed at that point. I know whatever I'm going to say is not going to be good. I got to get out of here. Maybe he said that to Stan and Wyatt beforehand. Listening to the audio, it kind of didn't sound that way. It was like, he did it. I thought that Wyatt and Stan did a good job of pivoting, but that's just where it's been a disastrous season. Okay. And I think that the good coaches out there in bad situations, they don't just keep pointing the fingers, and they certainly don't do it at the players, whether they are bought in or not. Okay. Because now you're questioning their character and you're ruining their chances maybe of transferring elsewhere. Don't do the whole thing of, if I'm going down, I'm taking everybody with me. I'm burning the whole thing down, but at least you'll know that I care. I didn't buy that last night. I really thought that was a poor way of doing things.
That was a head scratcher, to be sure. And K-State fans, feel bad for you. All right, when we come back, we'll pivot to baseball. How about we do that? Jamie Bluma, CBD American Shaman, Life is Better with the Feather. Baseball talk next.
For over 55 years and 2 generations, the Southwestern Remodeling Professionals have been providing homeowners in the Wichita area with a truly unique luxury remodeling experience. From the initial consultation through project design and production, our team provides concierge-style service with a true focus on the best quality products and professional installation. Are you ready to experience something truly different? Give us a call today at 263-1239 or visit southwesternremodeling.com.
You're listening to The Shane Dennis Show on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
If you're balancing work, raising kids, and helping your parents, Kansas PACE is here to support you. They coordinate doctor visits, prescriptions, therapies, home assistance, transportation, and a day center filled with engaging activities. Your parents get compassionate, expert care, and you get relief from the constant worry and stress. Kansas PACE helps older adults stay safe and independent while you take care of your own life, guilt-free. Discover how Kansas PACE can help your family today at kansaspace.org.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
Gillies Park City is open, and the legendary Honky Tonk Spirit is alive every night. Step inside for Ladies' Night every Wednesday. Free admission for ladies and $2 well drinks all night. Line dancing lessons every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Then hold on tight and ride the legendary Mechanical Bull. Karaoke Mondays at 8, no cover. And grab your crew for Gillies Social Country Night Out every Tuesday. 18 and up. Come play, cut loose, and feel the energy you can only get at Gillies, where the stars come to play. Minutes north of Wichita and Park City. More info at playgillies.com.
The 2026 NBA All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
The NBA is going back to the USA versus World format. 3 teams that consist of 8-man rosters. 2 of those rosters will be made of American players, and the 3rd roster will be made of international players.
The 2026 NBA All-Star Game.
Coverage begins Sunday at 4 on your home for the NBA playoffs. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
All right, Jamie Bluma time here on a Thursday. He is brought to you by American Shaman Botanicals, Wichita and Derby. Check out Jeff and the gang at either one of those spots in Derby or Northeast Wichita. American Shaman Botanicals, Life is Better with the Feather. A little bit of breaking news before we get to Jamie. The Royals are apparently acquiring Mitch Spence from the Athletics in exchange for prospect A.J. Causey. And in a corresponding move, or maybe the other way around, Alec Marsh has been placed on the 60-day IL. And so we'll have more thoughts on that and reaction on that a little bit later on right here on the station. But Jamie, first of all, congratulations. Happy pitchers and catchers report, although it's more than pitchers and catchers. Pretty much everybody reports right about now. But spring training's really here.
One of the best days of the year. I love seeing all the posts and all the guys down getting ready to go. World Baseball Classic year, so I'm sure there's guys that have been there for longer. But when it's official, then it's time to get it fired up, and it is right around the corner. And college baseball starts tomorrow from a Division I standpoint. So we are thick in it now. Super Bowl's over. Let's roll.
We'll talk about college baseball here in just a sec. But for those that don't know, and maybe for those that don't listen to this show super consistently, or at least over the years, tell everybody, if they're baseball fans, what is so special about going down to either Arizona or Florida and making at least a couple of days of it, if not a week of it, at spring training. Why is that so unique?
It's just fun because it's actually from a fan standpoint, you can get a little bit more access, especially if you go wallering around the minor league fields or something like that. And it's just baseball at its purest. You get to see guys getting ready for the season. You got full organizational talent across the board, and everyone people to see more complexes. I mean, that's a nice thing with either. Well, Arizona's a lot nicer because everything's a little bit closer knit. Everything's right around, obviously the Phoenix, Scottsdale, all of that area.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's a little bit more spread out, but you go to Fort Myers, you can get a couple in there. If you're around Tampa, St. Pete, you can get a whole bunch of baseball in there. Man, it's just, you're a baseball fan, and kids are getting ready for spring break here in a couple weeks, and it's just a signal of summer. Everything's getting ready to go to spring. Spring trainings, the sound of the bats and sound of gloves popping and all that stuff is nothing like it.
And if you're a autograph aficionado, you can get pretty much anybody's as they walk by, right? You can't do that at a big league game, not as easily anyway.
No, not at all. I mean, that's the thing with spring training. It's just a little bit more level in the back. It's not so crazy once the season gets going. And like I said earlier, especially once a big league camp's been going on a while and games get started and some of those guys get sent to the minor league side. I mean, not everybody's going to make that 26-man roster, but there's plenty of prospects in each organization that are going to be, out on the minor league fields, walking around, getting their work in, whether that's, just throwing bullpens or running or doing strength and conditioning guys. So there's a little bit more access there than there ever will be during the season, unless you happen to, be on the field or near the field along the sideline. For batting practice or something like that. It's just a lot more access when when you're doing it in either the Grapefruit League or the Cactus League.
So speaking of access, Jack is going to have some access coming up this weekend. He's going out of spring training. He's going to get us a whole lot of exclusive audio interviews from players, executives, etc. So we look forward to that next week. And you Royals junkies will be able to kind of get your fix from spring training thanks to our very own Jack Johnson. All right, Jamie, if you don't mind, tell us what's going on tonight and why that's so special.
Tonight is, I think, the third year for us here in Kansas City, Overland Park specifically, to host this year's college baseball Hall of Fame induction banquet. Huge class this year. I think there's 21 people going in. Not everybody's going to speak. Some of these are posthumously, the people that have passed away, but a big class. And I'm just actually knowing that I was going to talk to you about it today. I mean, there's even more people than I know. Mark McGuire is obviously one of the biggest ones in this group from a player standpoint, but you've got Phil Nevin, David Price, Steven Strasburg's on there, guys that we actually have played against, which was kind of fun from a coaching standpoint. In Phil Nevin, we played against him, but you got Norm DeBryan, who was at Arkansas when you and I were playing, and Les Murakami, who was at Hawaii when we got to go out and play against those guys. So it's gonna be a fun night for me personally, just because some of the guys I got to play against, I'll get to shake their hand and congratulate them, and then just see a bunch. I mean, the same with Ray Tanner. We get to watch Ray Tanner when he was at South Carolina and go through that ton of winning at the College World Series, and then Scott Boras. You love him or hate him.
Yeah.
He's been a pivotal part of this game for the last 30 years, it seems like. And we kind of really getting into it when you and I were coming through, and now super agent. A lot of people don't know that he actually played at University of Pacific back in the day, and he was a player before he was an agent. So he actually played the game a little bit before he's doing what he's doing now. So I know Jack's going to be there with me tonight, and we'll get to see Gene Stevenson and Jana Hauser, and I'm sure Phil Stevenson and Joe Carter, and a whole ton of people I know from here. But just a big shout out to the College Baseball Foundation, College Baseball Hall of Fame, and everybody that's part of that here. Tom Jacobs, who you got to talk to a couple weeks ago down in Wichita. He was actually at the first pitch banquet. We'll see him tonight. Just a big night. Brian Haney, voice of the Jayhawks, is the MC. He does an amazing job. So we'll be able to talk a little bit more about it next week with everybody that we got to see tonight, and it should be a fun one. Should be a good time.
It's interesting you bring up Scott Boras, because Jack famously says you can't talk about the Hall of Fame and you can't talk about the game of baseball without talking about so-and-so. Well, that same is true for Scott Boras and the super agents, and maybe just shed a little light on the persona of Scott Boras and how he likes college baseball. Maybe the perception that he isn't, because he's always trying to squeeze every last dollar out of every team of the representatives that he has. But he actually is a fan of college baseball, or was back in the 90s. And in his dealings with Darren Dreifert, our teammate that went in the first round, who had Scott Boras. So maybe just a story or two about Boras and how he actually favors college baseball.
He does, and it actually had a bit of a direct impact on me. I got drafted by the Houston Astros in '93, my junior year, and he was representing Darren Dreifert, who was the second pick that year too. And he actually was at the stadium that day at X Stadium, and I got a chance to meet him and talk to him. He wasn't my agent. I didn't have an agent my junior year, and he just wanted to tell me, like, hey man, we've done some studies and we've done some math on guys in your situation. And to be honest with you, if you look at it, you going back for your senior year and getting your degree, your long-term potential to make more money is better if you go get your degree. And 20 years down the line, the ability of that degree paying dividends for you more so than you taking the money or lack of money as a junior. And that's just my opinion. You can take it or leave it, but just wanted to throw that, advice out there too. There's a couple other reasons, as well as I do, like Jimmy Walker, that was at KU, was a non-drafted junior and then was a third round senior. A lot of things factored into me going back for my senior year, but that was one of them. I mean, Scott Boras, he wanted to represent, he played college baseball. He got a chance to play professional baseball. So he loves the college game and wanted to do what's right for the players. I mean, that's his bottom line. Obviously, that was 30 some odd years ago, and he has made a lot of money for a lot of people, including himself. But he's always been in it for the best interest. Maybe not always for the best interest of the player, because they're over the last couple of years, what he maybe thought was the best interest of the player backfired and cost. But he was always wanting to try to get the most money for the player. So. I haven't met him a long time ago. I don't know if he'll remember me. I hope I get a chance to shake his hand tonight, and just knowing the guys that he represented, including Darren and a couple other guys that I've known over the years. It'll be good. It's been a long time since I've talked to him, but he's had a significant impact on a plenty of players over the last 3 decades. For sure.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Do you have any idea if Mark McGwire will speak tonight?
I think he will, and the way they usually set it up, it's almost like a fireside chat. So
right.
Brian Haney will get up there and give him some, give some stats and accolades and that kind of thing. And obviously, with the whole big roster of people this year, I don't know how long any one individual will get to talk. I mean, there's some of them we would probably like to hear from more so than others, but everybody's got to get their just due. And he'll get up there and ask some questions about Mark McGwire from his days at USC. And obviously a whole bunch of the others, Chris Benson, and there's a lot of guys I'd like to hear a little bit from about tonight, just because we got some history against them, especially from a coaching and all that standpoint. But I would assume that we're going to hear a little bit from everybody.
Well, here's my 2 cents, maybe a public service announcement for anybody or entity that puts on a banquet with featured speakers. Fireside chats are the way to go. You get to control how long that person is up there before we move the program along. 100% back the fireside chat thing.
For sure. And Brian Haney's a pro. He does a really good job. I think I don't know if he currently is the voice of Jayhawk baseball, but he's done plenty of baseball stuff in the past. When he got to do it for the first time, we got it here in Oakland Park a few years ago. It's been a neat event. I mean, last year it was Mike Schmidt, Mark Teixeira, and Roger Clemens. Actually, there's a golf tournament for the Hall of Fame this year, and the 3 big guys we got coming back are Roger Clemens, Joe Carter, and Alex Gordon, our own here in Kansas City. I'll see him tonight. He was one of the inductees over the last couple of years. So I know they had a VIP dinner for all the inductees that are here in town. I don't know if everybody's here in town, but I know there's quite. I ran into Tom the other day, and there's a pretty good, including Hubie Brooks, who you and I know as baseball junkies.
Yeah.
Is here, and some other guys from some, maybe 80s. Mike Loyne, who I remember him being on the 84 Olympic team along with Mark McGwire, because I remember that baseball card set of the 84 U.S. Olympic team with the Olympics going on right now. So just, there'll be some great stories tonight, some good camaraderie. I'm looking forward to a good night, and then I can't wait to report back on about it next week.
I'll be at X Stadium tomorrow afternoon. Are you jealous?
Yes, you will. Yeah, I am jealous, man. The weather's going to be pretty decent. I don't know if you guys are going to get. Today's only Thursday, so Friday looks like the weather's pretty good. Get the season going. You remember when we played Colorado State back in the day? I think they beat us and were taking pictures of the scoreboard. Was that right?
No, that was. I wish it was Colorado State. It was Southern Colorado.
Oh, that's right.
And I don't even know if they exist anymore. And I pitched that game. But thank you for bringing that up. Thanks. Yeah, they were taking pictures of the scoreboard. I can confirm.
They were.
Funny story though, for real. The next day, Gene called me in the office, and as you know, Gene never talked to pitchers unless it was absolutely necessary. And he called me individually into the office, and in essence said, "That can't ever happen again." Like, he didn't raise his voice, he didn't cuss, he didn't yell.
No,
you can't ever let that happen again. And he was right. And
I'm sure your response was yes, sir.
It was. And I turned around and walked out. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, have fun out there tomorrow.
I will.
The weather's perfect today. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Get it rolling.
And the next time I talk to you, speaking of Les Murakami, I'll talk to you from Honolulu at like 8:20 a.m. Hawaii time, or whatever the hell the time difference is. So we'll have plenty to talk about next Thursday if you're still available.
I'll be available. Yeah, I can look forward to it.
Awesome. We'll do it. There goes Jamie Bluma talking baseball, as he does each and every Thursday, courtesy of CBD American Shaman, Derby and Wichita location. The Wichita location is kind of new. They have moved about, 600 or 700 yards. They're still at 21st and Rock, just on the other side of it. Also down in Derby, life is better with the feather. When we return, we will wrap up this version of the Shane Dennis Show with what we call I'm Old, Jack Young. Next.
You're listening to the Shane Dennis Show.
Be right back
on ESPN Wichita.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. Can the U.S. have a third straight 5-medal day? Unlikely. Winning 10 in 2 days had only happened once before in the Winter Games, 2010 in Vancouver. And before Tuesday, there had only been 3 days of winning 5 or more medals. There was a U.S. bronze won today by Jessie Diggins in cross-country skiing. It's her 4th medal, won in her 4th and final game. She's now looking forward to the team competition.
So I'll keep racing because I'm really excited about the team events. It's really an honor to put on the bib and the suit and race for people that you love so much, that you train with. I really want to pull it together and get this done with my teammates and for my teammates.
Diggins won the bronze today despite an injured rib. She joked that at age 34 she needs a new body. The snowboarding women's halfpipe going on now as the snow falls in Italy. Chloe Kim seeking a gold medal three-peat. John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
O'Reilly.
Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines. Right now, get 5 parts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $32.99. Plus, receive 2 times O Rewards points. Limit supply. Choose Syntec exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey, it's Sean Tarbell with Davis Moore Chevrolet. And this February, you are going to love the huge savings we have on trucks and SUVs. Check out the all-new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT 4x4 and save up to $12,000 off MSRP. Or get 1.9% financing. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on the 2025 Chevy Equinox EV RS all-wheel drive. Go farther and drive smarter. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet. Or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus tax, title, tax, and administrative fees expire March 2nd, 2026.
What do people with blindness or low vision need to live to the fullest? Just ask them. It's skill development, scientific breakthroughs, knowledge-based jobs, and the same opportunities as everyone else. When you give to Envision, whether it be your time, donations, or your engagement, you make it all possible. That's because at Envision, they don't focus on the disability. They value the ability. They choose not to envision a world without sight, but to envision a world where people who are blind or visually impaired are empowered to reach their full potential. Learn more at envisionus.com.
Whether you're hosting the big game, tailgating with friends, or just celebrating your favorite team, Auburn Spirits and Auburn Wine and Spirits have everything you need. Stock up on ice-cold beer, your favorite spirits, and wines that will make every kickoff, touchdown, and victory taste even better. Make Auburn Spirits at 135th and Maple and Auburn Wine and Spirits at 320 North Rock Road your game day headquarters. Auburn Spirits and Auburn Wine and Spirits, where your winning season begins. Celebrate local with Auburn and visit us at auburnspirits.com.
Man, you ever just want to go riding around, no worries? Well, that's this kind of song. Yeah, all right. This is for everybody out there circling the town square. Proud to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere. USA, Chevrolet, Dodge, and Ford. Raising a little hell and praising the Lord. Yes, sir. Just simple truth speaking, working for the weekend. Every time it hits the fan, you just keep on keeping. You try.
I'm old, Jack's young. What in the hell is this? Is this a joke? I guess not.
Sorry, did you repeat that one again?
Yeah, is this a joke?
No. I'm very curious. I'm gonna throw the guy who's featured at you, and your jaw's gonna drop.
Well, I hear
But maybe
Jason.
not, 'cause
I hear Jason
yeah.
Aldean in there.
He's one of them.
Okay. Is Luke
The
Bryan
other
in there
guy?
too?
No.
That wasn't Luke Bryan. Okay.
Nope.
So it's only Jason Aldean and somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have loved to see your face when this first came over the air.
Yeah, the people on the live stream probably were laughing.
He hasn't cursed yet, has he?
Not that I've heard.
Okay, well, let's hope not.
I don't know. Who? Just tell me so I don't have to listen to it anymore. What is this?
Colt Ford.
Oh. Okay. God.
Driving around song.
The driving around. I heard
Colt
that part.
Ford and auto tune Jason Aldean.
Good one, Jack.
It thankfully popped up on since I was running down the hall.
Thankfully, yeah.
Getting some stuff figured out, and I was like, well, let's see what he thinks of this one.
About like you thought I would think of it. Not much. All right, so 150. And normally, about 7 minutes from now, I would sign all the way off. But not today. You get bonus coverage of me, as there'll be a handful of folks over the next hour or so. It takes a village, as they say. And so we will press on and cover for some of those that can't make it. And we'll press on with a different version of the Pulse coming up 12 minutes from now. So stick around for that. Don't anybody go anywhere. You'll still get the same good content that we give you, just in a different form. Born day today. He's 36. Robert Griffin III.
Former Heisman winner, Baylor Bear.
Mm-hmm. Outspoken analyst nowadays.
Yes.
Brad Keselowski, 42. Non-Big Four.
I do know this one, though. I think. This is a NASCAR driver,
That's right. Correct.
Nice.
Yep. Drove the Miller Lite car for a while.
Good choice.
Yes. Matt Mock, 47.
Is this Matty Mock?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. Yeah, former Mizzou Tiger. And would like to party.
Okay.
I guess that's the way I should put it.
I'll accept that. Seth Payne, 51.
Seth Bring the Pain.
I don't know
who that is?
Maybe. I mean, that would
Football?
fit. Yeah. Okay. Football guy. Yeah.
I made that up. I actually don't know.
That's nice. Fake me out.
He was defensive lineman, though,
That's
so I'm
right.
sure somebody had to
Yes,
say that.
He was.
Seth
Defensive
Bring the
tackle.
Pain.
Yeah. He is a sports radio host in Houston nowadays, I believe. Talked to him before, back in a former life. It's a good interview. Lincoln Kennedy, 55.
I'll go baseball.
Oh, man.
Damn.
He's an Oakland Raiders offensive lineman. And I think he's one of their analysts, too.
You know what's funny is I think in the over the course of doing this segment with you for, I want to say 5 years running, my highest percentage is baseball. I would say my second highest percentage is basketball. Obviously, we're ruling out golf and all the miscellaneous stuff.
Yeah.
I would say football I've missed the most on.
Fourth out of the big four, football? Shame on you.
I would say third out of the big four.
Oh.
I've gotten a much higher percentage of hockey players
Hockey.
because you give me the hint every time.
Well,
But
listen,
football,
I
miss
need
a
to
lot.
remind you that you can ask for hints with all these
Yeah,
guys
that's true.
before you guess.
That's
so
true.
Just going over the rules again. Brent Jones, 63.
That's football.
Yes. Tight end, 49ers. Chet Lemon, 71.
Baseball.
Mm-hmm. Former Tiger. He was on the 84 Tigers team that won 1 million games. Born on this day, now dead, Bill Russell.
Celtic great, rebounding machine, and also one point in time a head coach.
Yep. Olympian, would have accepted. Won gold in 56. 11-time champ. More rings than fingers. Bill Russell. Cliff Gustafson, born on this day, now dead.
Baseball.
Very good. Legendary Texas coach. Also born on this day, now dead, Mike Martin. You know who that is? Not the NASCAR driver of the same name.
Baseball.
Yes, former Florida State head coach. Died 2 years ago. All-time winningest coach in Division I baseball. Also born on this day, now dead, Joe Garagiola.
That's baseball.
That's right. Very good. Born on this day, now dead, Dom DiMaggio.
Always get a DiMaggio, brother. Like every other month, it seems.
Dom,
Baseball.
Joe, and Vince, I think is the other one.
Yep.
Yep.
Let's say we keep this thing rolling.
Okay. Tom Landry, dead day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Football.
2000, 26 years ago. Wearing the fedora on the sideline.
Yeah, great look.
Great.
Somebody bring that back.
Oh, great silhouette from NFL fame, NFL Films fame. All right, we will keep this going. This portion of ESPN Wichita 92.3 comes to a close, but I'll stick around and usher in another one here in a second. The Pulse is next. Stick around.
All right, won't tell you bye yet.
All right.
When do you think you could ramble for like the opening 5 minutes of the show?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just have to go record 4 promos.
Okay, and then when you come back, I want the Mills audio, so fire that up.
Yep, got it loaded and ready to go.
Cool.
So I'll just text you and you can throw it to me whenever.
Okay.
Wichita's sports leader. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM KKGQ Newton.
The high school game of the week stays in the City League this week as rivals face off. Wichita Heights enters as one of the top teams in 6A, and they will look to stay hot as they take on Wichita East in what should be a thrilling matchup this Friday night. Tune in as pregame coverage starts at 7 o'clock with coverage of the high school game of the week presented by Commerce Bank at 7 o'clock on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
So many men and ladies are caring for aging parents while trying to manage careers, kids, and daily life. Kansas PACE understands that strain and provides real support from medical coordination and therapies to transportation, home help, and a social day center. Your loved one receives high-quality care while you keep your life moving. Kansas PACE isn't just a program, it's a partner that brings peace of mind and relief to families. Explore services and see if your parent qualifies at kansaspace.org.
Gillies Park City is open, and February never tasted so good. Come hungry for prime rib night every Thursday. $2 hot dogs and draft beers every Monday through Thursday in trackside simulcast. Don't miss the horse racing action. Gillies Authentic Barbecue, low and slow, fall off the bone brisket, ribs, turkey, and ham. Golden Circle Sports Bar, great food, drinks, and 160 feet of video wall for all the action. Come hungry, stay late, and leave happy. Gillies, where the stars come to play. Minutes north of Wichita and Park City. Find out more at playgillies.com.
Your home's in your hands, you build it.
Have you ever dreamed of owning a custom home or love your home, but your kitchen or bathroom just isn't quite right? You Build It Wichita helps you build or remodel smarter, saving you thousands compared to traditional builders and contractors while putting you in control of your project. Join them at a free home building and remodeling seminar Thursday, February 12th at 6:30 at Shields. They will walk you through the You Build It process and host a live Q&A with
That
real
sucks that
past
Kazi
clients.
just got to
It's
camp.
free, informative, and could save you thousands. Reserve your seat today by visiting the You Build It Wichita Facebook page. That's Thursday, February 12th at 6:30 at Shields. Build smarter. Build with You Build It Wichita.
Your home's in your hands, you build it.
Rejected! Swatted away by Flory! Jayhawk fans, March Madness is coming to ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
KU's got it, and the Jayhawks will win!
The home of the Jayhawks, the Big 12 tournament, March Madness, the Final Four, and National Championship.
Number one takedown
Wichita's
for the first
sports
time
leader.
in our field house
ESPN
history.
Wichita 92.3 FM. KKGQ.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The U.S. men's Olympic hockey team 10 minutes away from facing off in its first matchup in Milan against Latvia. Winnipeg Jets goaltender Connor Hellebuck starts in net. Canada beat Czechia 5-0 in its preliminary round opener today. NBA, Lakers will be without Luka Doncic a fourth straight game tonight against the Mavericks due to a strained hamstring. After missing the last game with left foot arthritis, LeBron James returns for L.A. ESPN NBA reporter Dave McMenamin.
This Lakers group had kind of built some momentum before this Luka Doncic injury, and they're hoping they can go into the All-Star break on a high note by getting a win against the Mavericks. LeBron will be at the All-Star game. He hasn't played as much in recent years. I would expect him to be playing, certainly unless something happens tonight against Dallas.
Recently acquired Jazz forward Jaren Jackson Jr. will have season-ending surgery to remove a growth in his left knee. Is expected to be cleared well ahead of training camp. Major League Baseball owners approved a rule intended to cut down on pitch tipping. First and third base coaches will have to remain in their respective boxes until a pitch is thrown.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen coming up Friday. I know it's Valentine's Day weekend, but I'll tell you which teams need to break up with their QBs this offseason. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
You're listening to The Pulse with Pat Strathman on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Small town, big dreams, and a young boy the age of 15 had a premonition his city would get seen. Now I'm winning, get Sheen in the city of the home of our
Normally, it would be. Normally, it'd be old Pat, but it's not. It's me, Shane Dennis, holdover from SDS, and not Chance Lebo either. He is unavoidably detained. He'll be around at some point. And so for now, it's just me and you. Thanks for sticking around, or thanks for tuning in. If you're a particular fan of the Pulse, welcome in. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. We have a couple different ways for you to join the show, as I'm sure you know by now, but I'll remind you, especially if you're new to the station, anytime I am on from noon to 2, and when whoever it is on from 2 to 4 in this here time slot, you have ways to contact us to try to be a part of the show if you want to be. If you got takes, questions, opinions, whatever, then put these numbers into your phone and then use them at your leisure. All right. We got a hotline. So if you want to call, we have a dedicated hotline, and that number is 316-669-4996. We got a text line also. So if you'd rather text, and these, again, are not, you can't do both with these things. We're not going to answer the text line, and you can't text the hotline. So remember that. But the text line is 316-247-0923. Here's how you can listen. If you'd like to stream us at work, if you're lucky enough, or if you work from home and you're on your laptop or on your computer or your tablet and you want to bring us up, see what we have to say, then go to espnwichita.com and click listen live. And head on over to the podcast button and then bring up a past show on demand whenever you want, whenever it suits you, and listen to any of our shows after the fact. Those being New Day with SSJ in the mornings. You got Clinton and Friends. You got the Rich Eisen show. You got My Normal show. You got the Pulse with Normally Pat, the program with Seren. You can re-listen to or listen to at another time whenever you want. All those shows, either in their entirety or just segments thereof. So remember that on the computer, espnwichita.com, or if you download our ESPN Wichita app, you can do all those things that you can do on our website on that app. Listen live, past shows. Beautiful thing is you can take us with you wherever you go. So if you're not in Wichita or you're not in Emporia or in the surrounding areas, download our free app, regardless what kind of phone you have, and listen to us via that app. Also, you can live stream the shows, Twitter, Facebook, our YouTube channel. And if you're watching right now, you see it says The Pulse with Pat Strathman. This is Shane, in for Pat today, and also in for Chance today. But you'll see and hear from him if you stick around long enough, if you're able to. And we'll let you know what's going down here on the Pulse here in just a second. We are at our Equity Bank Park Studios here on February 12th, on the eve of college baseball starting up, Division I college baseball anyway. And we look forward to previewing that for you coming up tomorrow. But here's what we're going to do today here on the channel. We will talk about the Wichita State game last night. In case you missed it, WSU v. USF. Bulls victorious 66-58. We'll talk a little bit about that, and we will play you some exclusive audio courtesy of Paul Mills and his post-game presser. You will have heard my opinions on the game if you missed the 12 o'clock segment of my show. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version here in just a second of what I thought from the game last night. And then you'll hear from the head man himself, Paul Mills, took to the podium after the game. We'll listen to what he had to say. And then obviously he's going to have the guys turn the page and get ready for Tulsa, as that big game is looming on the horizon as well. Then in the second segment, bottom of hour number 1, we will hear from Brian Haney. Chance caught up with him earlier today. So the play-by-play voice of the Jayhawks will no doubt reflect on the Arizona game, look forward to the Iowa State game. And if you missed it, and I don't know if it's going to come up or not, but Jamie Bluma let us in on the fact that Brian Haney is going to be the MC at the College Baseball Hall of Fame banquet tonight up in KC, or in the KC area. So man of many talents, Brian Haney will join. Again, Chance caught up with him just a little while ago, and he will no doubt get to his thoughts on all things Kansas basketball. So that will come your way in the second segment, bottom of the hour, about 20 minutes from right now. We'll hear from Brian Haney. And then coming up at the end of the hour, it will be maybe a smidge of Chiefs talk. They made a hire to the staff. I don't know if we're going to have time for that. We might. I'll do the best that I can to get to that. That will come your way in the 250-ish segment. But if not, old Jack will have our burnt into the hour trivia question brought to you by Tanker Barbecue. So that'll be at the end of hour 1. We've had to kind of shuffle some things around. Again, it's been a little mini chaotic, but we will give you the opportunity to win some Tanker Barbecue coming up here in just a little while. That'll be about 45 minutes from right now. Then in hour number 2, we'll have some K-State hoops reaction. And we'll also have, one way or the other, somebody's going to talk to Kevin Saul, the director of athletics. Will join either me or Chance. Hell, maybe me and Chance. I haven't decided yet. It all depends on Chance's schedule. But anyway, that's coming your way at 3:25. The director of athletics at Wichita State. Plenty for him to talk about, no doubt. Reaction to USF. Look ahead to Tulsa. Look ahead to Shocker baseball. Look back and ahead at Shocker softball. They're already going. And the softball team is at San Marcos right now at the Texas State tournament going on down there. Really good, by the way. Really good opposition. Really good schedule in the first couple of weekends for Shocker softball. They played nationally ranked Mississippi State to extra innings last weekend, played Baylor close twice, and they'll be tested again coming up this weekend, starting on Friday down in San Marcos. So all kinds of stuff and ground to cover with Kevin Saul once we get there. That's coming up a little over an hour from now, hour number 2. And then at the end of the Pulse, did I see a top 3 Thursday? Whatever that is.
We'll explain it to you.
Okay, we'll figure that. I didn't know if I misread that. There it is. Top 3 Thursday. All right. So that'll come your way at the end of the show. And then Texter says, when are you giving away K-State basketball tickets? Ready to call. I'll let you know, Texter. Thanks for the query. I don't know if that's serious or not, but that's kind of funny. All right. Shocker basketball. Last night, opportunity missed for the old Shocks when it comes to the league standings. As it shook out last night, and nobody really knew it at the time, for those that were watching Wichita State and South Florida, if Wichita State had won the game because of circumstance, they would have been tied for first. But it wasn't to be. And the Shockers shot only 31.7% from the floor. They missed 23 three-pointers. And maybe most notably and most surprisingly, they were whipped on the glass. They were minus 12 in the second half alone on the glass. And they shot only 27% from the floor in the second half. It was a tough watch. As I said earlier, after the first half, it was a different Wichita State team. And with Tulsa and Temple both losing their games, USF now stands alone in first place. They have now split the season series with Wichita State, each team winning on the other's home floor. But because of what happened around them, even though the Shockers missed a chance to be tied for first and a showdown with Tulsa on Saturday, wouldn't that have been nice? But even having said all that, they're still only a game back of second place. So if they split this homestand and beat Tulsa, not only is Wichita State position itself to be in the catbird seat and reestablish let's control our own destiny, it will also make, I would guess in the process, Tulsa seem a lot more gettable or a lot more mortal, because there was a long stretch of basketball where Tulsa looked like it was the toughest out in the league. But USF clipped them. They lost last night to UAB, of all teams. And now they will bring their show into Charles Koch Arena at Saturday, at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Shockers and Golden Hurricane in that one. But last night, Shockers led by 7 at the half. Kenyon Giles ended up with 24 points, but was only 9 of 22 from the floor. He did have 5 steals, which tied a career high. Michael Gray nearly had a double-double with a season-best 9 rebounds, a couple of three-pointers. Will Berg, who Paul Mills will talk about coming up here in just a little bit, he had his 6th double-double, 10 points and 13 rebounds, and Dylan Battie added 10. But it was not enough as USF beat Wichita State on the glass. The game honors toughness, so says Paul Mills, and he didn't think they were quite tough enough. And in the second half on the glass, apparently they weren't. But South Florida now 9-3, all alone at the top of the standings. Wes Enos for the Bulls had a double-double, had a career-high 11 rebounds, and he really came alive offensively in that second half. And the Shockers fell short. They struggled to score down the stretch. Final 4 minutes, South Florida lived at the free throw line, which they often do. And Shockers couldn't throw it in the ocean. After the game was tied with 8:55 left, Shockers didn't have an answer after that. After the game, head coach Paul Mills took to the podium and he talked about the old "this game honors toughness" mantra, which he questioned the Shockers the last time. Speaking of Tulsa, the last time they played Tulsa 2 weekends ago. And he thought that victimized Wichita State again last night. I didn't completely agree, but he's the coach. I'm not. But he'll talk about that and talk about, in general terms, what it's going to be like, probably it's already happened, when they review the tape as it pertains to USF out-rebounding the Shockers by 12 in the second half and out-rebounded them for the game. 66-58 was the final. Here is Paul Mills after the game talking about the loss to South Florida.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to play the full 8 minutes?
You know, two really competitive teams.
Copy.
I mean, we're not going to win a game if we're minus 11 in the second.
I don't know
half.
why their YouTube audio is so quiet.
I know.
So it's rare, like, for us to get turned around and just really just dominated. They had the 4 O boards in the opening media and translated to some second chance points, 3 specifically. But when you're minus 11 on the glass, you go in at the half plus 5. I mean, we've only been out rebounded all year 4 times. Obviously, all 4 times have resulted in losses. But minus 11 and a half is just unacceptable. And look forward to showing this film to our guys tomorrow. But you're not this is a game that honors toughness. and we were not tough from a ball security standpoint, and we did not do the things we needed to do from a physicality standpoint in order to give ourselves a chance. Well, I will tell you the last thing we showed our guys today at shoot around as we finished up the film session is the free throw X outs that they do. And they get 2 of those late. And I mean, again, when you turn around, I know it's a 3-possession game on paper, but minus the fouls, like you can still win a game when you do not shoot it well. But you have to rebound. And I mean, we've had games like this. We had the Rice game to where we had some guys just from a combination standpoint, just unable to produce, go over. Actually had a few of them. And you can be over.
When do I break?
Like
at 2:55-ish?
Yeah, our expectations for KB are a little.
You will break at 2:56:50.
Okay.
But that's really only if you want Sports Center.
So, okay. We'll go back and just see what's happening here and make sure we're doing everything possible in order to be prepared for Tulsa.
You guys have had games where you dominate the physicality, dominate the glass, and then losses like this where you feel like you lose that battle. Just what seems to be like the dip or like the lack of consistency, would you say is that the problem? It's just not there every single game? Or?
No, I mean, I don't think it's a lack of consistency. I mean, what have we played? 25 games. We've been out rebounded 4 times. So, I mean, we've been pretty consistent. 21 of the 25, we've been able to out rebound people.
And on offense, just what it seemed like. It looked like it was bogged down. Just really tough. I mean, obviously they're athletic and long, but what just felt like just didn't allow you guys to get in a rhythm tonight?
Yeah, I thought that, one of the things that happens is they poke the ball loose way too much. We had KB with an old board. You bring it down to your waist, and then all of a sudden a guy my size now can become a factor in a game. And we get it poked loose from the sidelines. And I just thought from Emmanuel had several of those opportunities. I just thought from a ball security standpoint on the interior, and we faced this against Tulane as well, and addressed it afterwards. And so I really thought we would be better. They just squeeze it so much. I mean, I think if you go back and you look at the TJ Dre combo, and then you have KB out there, like that floor was getting squeezed so much and there just wasn't much in the way of space. And then you're going to have to loosen it up, right? You're going to have to be able to make some shots and loosen things up. So, from guys who've kind of been able to make shots through the course, I mean, what is that? Finish 6 of 25 between KG, Mike, and KB. Like we needed to be able to loosen some of that up. And, even if you throw Brian in there, 6 for 27, just from a shot making perspective, that just did not materialize for us. And I even thought KG's minus a pin down action. I thought, and there was one in transition that he made, but you knew it was going to be tough. I mean, we were 2 for 16 at half. So, behind the arc, and I just thought some of it was personnel related, some of it was not having ball security in tight spaces, and then again we needed to be able to loosen that up. It's kind of like a football team putting 8 people in the box if your quarterback can't throw. You're going to have to loosen up something in order to open up some space. Yeah, I think anytime that you can go through and see what's obvious, you course correct, right? I think, we've been able to respond all year and being able to course correct. And it's a really, I don't want to take anything away from South Florida, but I think anytime that you can kind of see it and be able to course correct, and I just think it's a huge value.
When the schedule lined up this week and where it is, just feeling it's a little bit of a missed opportunity to lose one tonight that you had a lead in this.
Absolutely, especially just being told what happened through the rest of the conference. So, we're still in the thick of things in order to try to ensure that you're a top 2 seed. And again, we got a lot of things to fix before Saturday night.
Is there anything that comes off the top of your head, just like what you would want to see these guys do differently on offense when it's clear shots, just not falling? Is there anything they can be doing a little bit better job of?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is we would go and we would get to the rim, play off of 2 feet. We would shot fake, and I thought there was hesitancy to go over people when they were coming down. Like that, there was just a tentativeness where you needed to put a shot up. It could get blocked. It's okay. Like the shots are going to get blocked. It's okay. But I just thought now, because what happens is you're drawing attention. If you can get a shot and you don't miss short, you're going to get old board opportunities, and we can get backside old boards. I just thought our level of tentativeness when we were inside the paint, that stuff turns around, and you saw 3 and 4 second possessions in there, and the ball was getting poked loose like that. That level of tentativeness cannot happen, especially as much as we talk about playing with force.
I think it was like 6-7 minutes left of when KG hit that 3, and then you guys, like the crowd's into it. You guys are, I think it cuts it down to 2. Crowd's getting into it, and then I think it was Mike that gets burned on the back door, like right after that. Just, what has to be better? It seems like the back doors are kind of an issue. Just what has to be better there with the guards on defense?
Yeah, I mean, there was one tonight. So, I mean, yeah, you're that's an awareness issue. But, I mean, there was one tonight versus Tulane where it seemed like there were 9,000 of them. So, there was just one. Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. It's 2:24. Wichita State up next, taking on Tulsa at 6 o'clock. That's our post-game presser with Paul Mills and his reaction to the loss to South Florida. A little bit curt there, but still had plenty to say and still plenty to take away from that. Shockers in Tulsa, 6 o'clock, ESPN Plus, Saturday night. Still plenty to play for. And as he mentioned, still in the thick of things as well. Shane and Jack with you here on the Pulse. Looking ahead just a little bit over the next couple of days here on the channel. We will have overtime tonight at 6 o'clock. High school game of the week tomorrow between East and Heights. Chance Lebo will have that. He'll be along here shortly, joining us here on the Pulse. And then on Saturday, Kansas Nation pregame right here on ESPN Wichita 92.3, 10 o'clock, getting you ready for KU Iowa State. Should be a good one, a big-time matchup. Will Darren Peterson be available? We will discover that, I'm sure, game time. But when we come back, our very own Chance Lebo had a chance to catch up with Brian Haney. So we will hear from Brian Haney on all things Kansas basketball. And his appearance here on the show is brought to you by Mattress Hub. Wichita owned and operated, best prices, selection, and customer services, top brands as well from the good folks at the Mattress Hub. We'll hear from Brian Haney when we come back.
You're tuned in
I got it
to
from
the
here.
Pulse
All right.
on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Toppers Plus Truck and RV is your home for Rhino Linings Eco Coat, a spray-on RV roof coating for the ultimate protection of your RV. It's 100% seamless, won't crack or peel, UV resistant, lasts 3 times longer than your traditional rubber sheet roof, and includes a Toppers Plus lifetime leak-free guarantee. Get your free RV roof inspection at Toppers Plus Truck and RV. Upgrade your RV at 333 Northwest Street or check us out at toppersplusks.com.
Make your truck work for you.
Hey, Shocker fans! Wichita State Baseball returns to historic X Stadium at Gene Stevenson Park for another exciting season of Shocker tradition. Season tickets start at just $75 for all 33 home games, including marquee matchups and conference action. It's an unbelievable value at just over $2 per game. Lock in your seat and be part of the energy all season long. Secure your seats at GoShockers.com/tickets or by calling 316-978-FANS.
Hey, it's Sean Tarbell with Davis Moore Chevrolet. And this February, you are going to love the huge savings we have on trucks and SUVs. Check out the all-new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT 4x4 and save up to $12,000 off MSRP. Or get 1.9% financing. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on the 2025 Chevy Equinox EV RS all-wheel drive. Go farther and drive smarter. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet. Or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus tax and administrative fees expire March 2nd, 2026.
The boats are back at Century 2 with screaming deals on tons of boats at the Marine Specialty Boat Fishing and Hunting Show, February 13th through 15th.
Surf boats and pontoons, fishing boats, personal watercraft, and cruisers.
Enjoy non-stop entertainment, live
Did Chance give you an update at all?
angler demos from a 40-foot stop.
Yeah, basically what he
Get
said
ready
that
for fun
his
in
high
the
school
sun at the
athlete
Marine Specialty Boat
understood it was
Fishing
at
and Hunting Show,
2:30 and not
February
2.
13th through 15th at
So he'll
Century
be here as
2,
quick as he
presented
can,
by
but it
Beacon
won't be
Marine.
necessarily at 3. So.
Kids are free. Wichita's new sports leader, ESPN Wichita.
Justice will be in here at 3:25, but you'll be with Saul.
Right. Somebody will.
by current Chiefs
Yeah,
wide
so
receiver.
and then
Tyquan
so a
Thornton.
top 3 Thursday is what would happen. Is basically you go to Pro Football Reference or Baseball Reference. I do Baseball Reference. You type in a last name, and Jason would have to guess who the top 3 guys are.
Oh, okay. I know what that is. I didn't know that's what it was called. Okay.
Wichita's
It changes
home
all the
for
time.
Chiefs coverage. ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
Welcome back to the Pulse here on Wichita's Sports Leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3
Why did
FM,
we not
and
record
streaming
this?
on the ESPN Wichita
man.
app. Chance Lebo
Ask
here
him.
filling in for Pat today, as we are pleased to be joined now with
You see what
by
I mean,
voice
though?
of
I
the
do,
Kansas Jayhawks. Brian Haney joins us on the hotline now. Brian, no better time to be a Jayhawk. KU wins their 8th straight game. They move into sole possession of 3rd place in the Big 12, just 1 game back of 1st place Arizona. I mean, first off, just how much fun was that environment in Allen Fieldhouse on Monday night?
Man, that was special. I think for me personally, that was a top 2 all-time type environment that I've had a chance to witness, going back to 2012 versus Mizzou, the last game as conference rivals in Allen Fieldhouse. I mean, it's right there with that. I think there have been singular individual moments where I've heard it louder, like the T-Rob block in the 2012 game, or maybe John Fon's 3 versus Indiana, going back to the Roy Williams era. But for a 2-hour and 15-minute sustained stretch of just the crowd being engaged and providing energy and electricity throughout to help a shorthanded team that needed to feed off that energy, that was pretty special, man. I mean, we've had some great home games this year. It's a rare year where we've faced number 5, number 1, number 2. We still have Houston coming in, who's number 3 in the country, all on our home schedule. But to me, Monday night was set apart. That's as good as I've heard it in a long, long time. And as I said, probably top 2 experience for me in terms of Fieldhouse moments.
Oh, I'm sure. It was, I'm just watching it from the TV. I almost got off my couch a couple times. I'm a K-State guy. That was how much fun that game was from just a neutral observer. But being a part of the athletic department, how's Darren Peterson feeling? It's the $1 million question right now, but how's the results with Darren Peterson?
Yeah, he's doing better. He practiced yesterday and today. They had an early morning practice today because this afternoon is Dr. Scott Ward's funeral that the entire athletic department will be in attendance at. And so they practiced early today, and he's getting better and better. Coach Self said he's not at full strength yet, but his hope is that by Saturday he would be, and hopefully by tomorrow when they practice before getting on the bus to Ames, he'll be closer to himself. But I encourage folks to go to KUathletics.com and listen to Coach Self's press conference from earlier this morning. He kind of took some of the online criticism of the DP situation head on and didn't pull any punches. He was very straight up in everything he said about each instance that's caused him to miss a game and the legitimacy of everything, going back to hamstring tightness and quad cramps and an ankle roll that cost him 9 days of practice, according to coach, at least a 9-day stretch where he couldn't practice. And so this latest thing, the illness, it was legitimate. Coach told us on Hawk Talk last night that he first got sick in the Utah game on Saturday, was really sick Sunday, couldn't practice at all. Tried to go on Monday, and I was there for the Monday game day practice, which is called shoot around. It's a little bit misleading with that moniker because you do a lot more than just shoot around. They put in the scouting report and they run plays and all that, and he was a part of that, but you could tell he was a little bit less than 100%. I think the expectation all day long on Monday was that come game time, the adrenaline kicks in and you're able to kind of rise above that, but he just didn't get better. So, like I said, I encourage folks to listen to Coach's 6-minute rant or however long it was, because he really he got after it a little bit and said, I'm not a social media guy, but I see what's out there on X about people's theories on Darren, and he took some issue with that, which was interesting because the question really wasn't about folks' theories on Darren's availability. It was more about, does Darren have an extra gear of explosiveness or burst that he hasn't tapped into because of all of the ailments? And Coach used that window to kind of go on a little bit of a rant. So I encourage you to check it out at KUathletics.com. It's rare to see the Hall of Famer, go off on a tangent like that, but he loved the chance to defend one of his players. And I'll tell you, another thing that's rare is how proud he was of the guys that were able to grind it out on Monday night in Peterson's absence. To see the outpouring of emotion of self afterwards with both fists clenched, both arms raised above his head. He went from the east side to the north side, the west side, going around the field house, one section to the next, pumping those fists, waving his arms in the air. It was pretty special to see that, because you really haven't seen that in 23 years. You've seen glimpses of it, of him looking to the heavens after beating Mizzou, or hugging Devontae Graham after the 14-point comeback in the final 242 versus West Virginia. But the hugs of Flory and the hug of Melvin, and then that fist-pumping salute of each section one by one, that was different. So I think you're seeing a fired-up Bill Self that realizes this group has a chance to do something really special, but also recognizes that, that there's a whole different level of ceiling for Kansas when you got Darren involved. As great as Monday night was, it would be hard to sustain that on a neutral floor for 6 games in March Madness. And so he very much has Darren Peterson's back, very much recognizes the need to get him fully back, and comments today certainly alluded to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's any question that Bill Self is a player's coach, and it was kind of entertaining to see Flory in the post game talking about counting out how many hugs Bill Self has given him. It was pretty entertaining there. But you brought it up, the ceiling. Everybody, the common talking point is about the ceiling that Kansas has with Darren Peterson, a Final Four, a national title contender. Did you feel like that that ceiling was raised a little bit Monday night, in which you saw at Allen Fieldhouse?
I think it's been raised over the last 2 weeks, and certainly Monday is a big part of that when you take down the number one team. But if you think back to a couple of weeks ago on this show, I told Pat that I thought entering this stretch of 5 games in 15 days, 4 of which against top 15 opponents, I really felt like they could go 4-1. And if they did, we would look at Kansas vastly different, because at the time, most bracketologists had Kansas on the 5 seed line, maybe a 4 seed. And that's no place to live come March Madness, because your second round game, should you get to the second round, is against a top 20 team. And your Sweet 16 matchup is against the number 1 seed. And so my hope was for this 2-week stretch, we would play ourselves off of that seed line, maybe into a comfortable 3 with an outside shot at a 2. Well, 4 games into this 5-game stretch, they've won all 4. And obviously a huge challenge awaits in Ames on Saturday, which we can talk about in a second. But in that time, if you think about it, Chance, you've had Bryson Tiller play 2 or 3 of his best games as a collegian. In that time, Flory Bidunga has become the front runner for National Defensive Player of the Year. In that time, you've seen Darren Peterson have 2 stone cold clutch threes in Lubbock, Texas, with 90 seconds to go. That reminds you what an alpha dog looks like, at game point, something Kansas hasn't had maybe since its title team. In that same stretch, you saw Melvin Council show how much of an MVP he is for this club based on his energy and the personality spark he provides. Whether we got Darren or not, he's a guy that kind of sets the bar and feeding off of that. And so with so many instances in these last 4 games and the previous 13 days, including Jamari McDowell off the bench becoming a starter and delivering his best performance on Monday, and many other examples. Darren Peterson in that first half versus BYU looked like the best player in the nation for 20 minutes before the hamstring set in. To me, all of these glimpses, when you add them together, this looks like a championship caliber team. Now, we got a long ways to go in proving that Darren's going to be able to finish more games and stay in throughout. But we have seen him in this same stretch have a couple of 30-plus point, or rather 30-plus minute contributions where he was able to finish. And that's what you're wanting to see as we head down the stretch. Not just his availability and dependability, but the way the team plays with him out there in crunch time. And so I'm pumped, man. I think we've seen all those things emerge, and clearly Monday was a huge part of that. But it's been more about the last couple of weeks as a whole, and just a completely different trajectory Kansas is on now that you hope they can keep rising upward within. But that continues, obviously, at number 5, Iowa State on Saturday.
Talking to Brian Haney, voice of the Jayhawks here on the Pulse. One player that you talked on a little bit, I think that he's really been the X factor, and a lot of it is his passing ability. But Bryson Tiller, since becoming really a capable offensive weapon for Kansas, I mean, how much have you seen him improve, and just his confidence in general since really having that breakout game in the Sunflower Showdown in Manhattan?
Man, he's been tremendous. And it's funny, he's 2 biggest games with the most NBA scouts in the house. And that's some people will say, oh, wow, he waits to turn it on until you got 30 NBA scouts. No, it's more coincidental. But everybody was talking about AJ DeBonsa versus Darren Peterson a couple of weeks ago with the ESPN College Game Day in the house. And it was Tiller that stole the show with a career high 21. And on Monday night in the first half, when not only is Darren Peterson not playing, but you've got Melvin and Trey laboring to score. At one point, they were combined 4 out of 20. It's Tiller that puts the team on his back and gives them 14 first-half points and really keeps them in that game. And so I think he's been fantastic. To me, he's playing to his size more than he was before. And if you think about it, going back to our last loss in Morgantown 8 games ago, he struggled mightily and did not play. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I think it was final 15 minutes of the game. We didn't see him. Flory had some foul trouble. West Virginia was, backing our guards down and bully balling us. And we just didn't look like a Kansas team that played to athleticism size-wise. And his ability to play to his size as the broadest shoulder big guy we got in the rotation has been instrumental in this team's rise. Obviously, Flory's the defensive ascent has been as big as anything, but Bryson now finally is starting to look like that 5-star guy that was top 20 ranked before he reclassified and came in at semester last January. And that's why I keep reminding folks every time I'm on these airways, man, this was the guy that had he not elected to come in a semester early to rehab his injury and kind of soak up the culture and the program and all that, he would have been a McDonald's All-American. He would have been hyped as much as that second tier behind Peterson and Devonta in what is, I think, the best freshman class we've seen in college basketball in the last 15 years. Folks forget that. But, I mean, this was a guy that Bill Self said had he not had the injury last year, would have been a top 5 overall player in this class. Think about that. So we shouldn't be surprised that he needed some maturation and seasoning. Any freshman would, especially coming off an injury. But we also shouldn't be surprised that he's now rounding into form and is doing all this, because scouts loved this guy 18 months ago, and they love him even more today. And I think you're very spot on to bring up his importance within this team's recent win streak.
And then, we brought up Bryson Tiller, but how much love should we be giving guys like Jamari McDowell? And I think, as a K-State guy, Marco Jackson, I mean, that's a guy that I really root for. Just a great kid, and you've seen him grow into a small role, but he's made the most of it here, especially during this hot stretch for Kansas.
Yeah. He's a terrific kid. They both are. They're forever going to be linked together because they came in the same class, redshirted the same year for different reasons, and are program guys now that have been a part of it for 2.5 years and understand Bill Self's expectations more than anybody on this roster. And in the case of Marco, I'm not sure the common fan, myself included, understands just how tough it is to come back from a torn patella tendon, how grueling of a recovery that is, and how long it takes to get the burst fully back. But man, he attacked that recovery and rehab like an absolute pro. Learned a lot in his off year, having to watch, but still be an active voice at practice, being a leader from the sidelines. And Jamari was healthy all last year, but he used that year to really work on his outside shot, be a more consistent defender. And we're seeing the fruits of all those labors pay off as well. I mean, the way he stepped into that starting role the other night, and we talked about the spark Tiller was with 14 in the first half. Jamari had 10 in the first half, and he also had 3 first half steals. Without that, they don't win this game. And he didn't bat an eye when Darren was out, because he'd started in his place 6 or 7 times before, and he was well aware of what was required in that spot. And I just thought it was so cool to see him flourish when some guys finding out that late you're going to be pressed into a starting role against the number 1 team in the country with all the nation watching. They wouldn't fare half as well as Jamari did, but that says a lot about his intestinal fortitude and mental toughness. And certainly you're really happy for him, because you need guys like that. It's not all about the 5-star superstars. And to be clear, Marco was a 5-star McDonald's All-American, but he's been more of a complimentary auxiliary piece. But it's definitely a necessary ingredient on a championship pedigree to have the guys that do the little things and make the hustle plays and are getting those steals that lead the live ball runouts. And those two have done a great job of that. And it never ask for anything more than, hey, just give me an opportunity to come in and contribute in this way or that way. They're not selfish about their role. They've accepted whatever they get. And it's absolutely 2 tremendous examples of we over me with both of those guys. So you love to see them tasting some success.
Yeah, it's been a really fun growth for him this season, just watching him develop into who he is, both on and off the floor. But coming up this weekend, Ames it's a tough place to play. They call it Hilton Magic for a reason, but Iowa State kind of floundering. They barely hold on against Baylor at home, and then a couple nights ago losing in Fort Worth. What have you seen from Iowa State compared to when they came in as an undefeated number 2 team in the country to Allen Fieldhouse earlier this season?
Well, last couple of games, the threes haven't been falling, and I think they're about 25% last two times out, and it shows with the way those outcomes have gone, and they were fortunate to get the one they did prior to Tuesday versus TCU. But to me, in their home gym with their backs against the wall, they've got Kansas and Houston their next two games, and to stay in the league race, they've got to win them both. I expect them to come out with their hair on fire. It's my hope that Kansas, as the number one three-point defensive team in the league, can at least make it tough on them. But Momcilovic, even with the last couple of games, is still shooting north of 52% from three.
He's absurd.
And absolute stud. And obviously, Lipsey's been a star in this league for 4 years now. Joshua Jefferson's a force. I love their freshman class, too. I just think, we should expect to be walking into a similar buzzsaw to what they encountered here. Mm-hmm. But just because they're going to be dialed in and more motivated than ever doesn't mean we can't come up there and steal the show. We have to bring the same level of urgency, knowing that it's not quite a must-win for Kansas, but it is in terms of controlling your own destiny. Mm-hmm. Right now, without diving too deep into it with our remaining time, you look at the remaining schedules of Houston and Arizona. And Arizona, 5 of their last 7 are against top 20 teams. And Houston and Arizona still have to go head-to-head. Houston still has to go to both Lawrence and Hilton. But having said that, Chance, it's hard to imagine those two teams losing more than 3 games in league play. I think 15-3 wins it. Mm-hmm. And so for Kansas to control its own destiny, which it does right now, Saturday's a game you got to win. If you lose Saturday for a third league loss, even though you play Houston at home and still go to Arizona, you're not controlling your own destiny anymore, because you would need somebody else to beat those teams on top of you beating those teams. So that's why Saturday is so important for us. But for Iowa State, their title hopes in the Big 12 are on life support. If they don't win these next 2 home games, then they're pushing their chips into a different pot, thinking about the Big 12 tournament and just NCAA seeding at that point. Mm-hmm. That's how cutthroat it is at the top of the Big 12 this year.
All right, Jack, I'm back. If you want to throw it to me after Haney.
5
you got it.
And
awesome.
A couple of clubs that I think, we should look at as national championship favorites.
Yeah. And Brian, before we let you go, one last question here in the remaining time we
have.
Shane. What are the early reads on the quarterback battle between Chase Jenkins, Zeke Marshall, and Cole Ballard?
Well, you're nice to bring that up, but honestly, there's no early reads. They're not practicing yet. So I think there's a lot of excitement in the building as these guys come in and start working out a little bit. Clearly, when you look at what Kansas brings back, and the fact that Zeke Marshall has been a buzz name for the last couple of years, this fan base is excited about, and he now gets paired up with Andy Kotelnicki, who was helping to recruit him before he left to Penn State. You got a lot of excitement there. But yeah, it's a 3-man race at the top, and I think that the Rice transfer you bring up is a guy that compares skill set wise very closely to Zeke, and you want to have guys that do similar things because it allows you to run the offense you want to scheme regardless of availability. But don't forget about Cole Ballard and all of this too. Mm-hmm. So I think Chase, Cole, and Zeke are all guys that we should be pumped about. But yeah, I would say let's huddle up on that in March once we get some spring ball going, because early reads at this point would have more to do with who looks good in the weight room versus how they're embracing this offense and their new coaching and all that.
Yeah, well, Brian, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me. Enjoy the time in Ames.
Hey, always a pleasure, Chance. Thanks a lot for having me on.
That was Brian Haney, voice of the Kansas Jayhawks. You can hear him on Saturday. And make sure you check out Mattress Hub, Wichita owned and operated. They have the best prices, selection, and customer services, as well as the top brand. Brian Haney every week, brought to you by the Mattress Hub of Wichita, locally owned and operated. When we return, we will wrap up hour number 1 with a burnt end of the hour question brought to you by our friends at Tanker Barbecue. That's all coming up next here on The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
The heartbeat of Wichita sports fans. The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Westwood
Do I have any
Saul
lives?
will be in studio.
Say it again.
Winter Games.
Will Saul be in studio?
No, he'll be calling in, I believe. Let me text him and
the
ask.
U.S. won the hockey gold medal. The NHL players, of course, are back. First time since 2014 in the U.S. and Latvia are about to face off. Canada today opened up 5-0 over Chechnya. 20 saves for Jordan Billington of the St. Louis Blues. Switzerland shut out France 4-0 in women's hockey. Canada won 5-0 over Finland, and that comes after Canada lost to the U.S. 5-0. U.S. is 4-0 by a combined 20-1. A bit of a road game tomorrow against Italy. In freestyle skiing, the men's moguls went to a tiebreaker and a major upset. Cooper Woods from Australia won the gold medal. The Canadian Mikhail Kingsbury the silver. Woods has never won a World Cup event. Kingsbury has won over 100. Nick Page of the U.S., 7th place. He was 5th 4 years ago as a 19-year-old. John Stashauer, Westwood One Sports.
If you love to travel, Capital
Do
One
I have any
has a
lives?
rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One
I do
Venture
not think
X
so. Let me
card,
double
you
check.
earn
Okay.
unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
And you're not doing
Can I
any
take your
giveaways,
code?
right?
Oh,
Just
you
Tanker,
noticed.
so no.
Yeah, I found it on eBay
Okay.
from a seller in Vegas. Pre-loved and perfect. She
Well,
listed it. in
okay, so
Jackpot.
I'll do the
Italian
tanker
leather,
question,
classic
and then at
trench
the end,
silhouette.
instead
Did
of
you
asking
see the
Jason
braided
what it
buckle?
is, just you say it
Yeah,
yourself.
that's the plan, yeah.
Oh, I'll hang on to this forever. Have you been on eBay?
What a
I've
show
got
we
the
got.
many
Mason
finds.
Voth tweet
And I
for
bet
the
that
post-game
diving
audio.
watch
Okay,
would sell
sweet.
fast.
Thank you.
Just saying.
Find what you love. Sell
What a
you
production
don't.
we're running
eBay.
today. This has
Things
been incredible.
people love.
Hi, this is Brian Davis with Davis
Been
Liquor
a
Outlet.
smooth
This is
sailing
Blake
ship.
Davis
Oh,
with
yeah.
another great deal on 90 plus wines, 750 ml, just $9.99.
Has Pat told you if he's back tomorrow?
Liters,
Nope,
only
it'll be me
$19.99.
because he's
Davis
been
Liquor
trying to
Outlet,
connect to the
each store
Comrex,
independently
and they won't
owned
have Wi-Fi there,
neighborhood
so
locations
it'll be
with
me
super
again
store prices.
tomorrow.
For over
Okay,
55
my
years
day's
and two
normal tomorrow, so we won't have
generations,
to do
the
any
Southwestern
moving
Remodeling
around. Perfect.
Professionals have been providing homeowners in the Wichita area with a truly unique luxury remodeling experience. From the initial consultation through project design and production, our team provides concierge-style service with a true focus on the best quality products and professional installation. Are you ready to experience something truly different? Give us a call today at 263-1239 or visit southwesternremodeling.com.
The 2026 NBA All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
The NBA is going back to the USA versus World format. 3 teams that consist of 8-man rosters. 2 of those rosters will be made of American players, and the 3rd roster will be made of international players.
The 2026 NBA All-Star Game.
Coverage begins Sunday at 4 on your home for the NBA playoffs. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Wrapping things up here in hour number 1 of the Pulse. I'm Chance Lebo, back in the saddle. Appreciate Shane for hanging around for a little bit while I was out doing my regular job, but we still have to get to our Tanker Barbecue burnt end of the hour question. Get ready for takeoff. Your taste buds are in for a ride at Tanker Barbecue Company. Check out mouth-watering specials like bacon wrap meatloaf, slider Saturday, and much more. You can find them at 620 West Maple, open Tuesday through Saturday. Tanker Barbecue, refuel your tank at Tanker Barbecue. All right, Jack, we will have our question right now. What is the Tanker Barbecue burnt end of the hour question for today?
All right. So earlier today, we saw the Royals and the Athletics had a trade. Royals sending prospect A.J. Kazi over to the Athletics. Mitch Spence is going back to the Royals. All you need to do is tell me this. Who is the all-time pitching wins leader for the Athletics?
Okay, so all you have to do is text us, 316-247-0923. That's the text line number. If you have a guess for who is the all-time wins leader in Athletics franchise history, you'll be entered for a chance to win free Tanker Barbecue. Pat will be in communication with you. All you got to do is text us, 316-247-0923, and you'll win if you are the first one to answer who is the all-time leader in wins for the Oakland or Sacramento or Philadelphia or Kansas City Athletics. And we already have a winner today. Congratulations to the texter who just texted in. Pat will be in communication with you. I'll send you over his number for your chance to win. Free Tanker Barbecue. Just stop on by the studio. Pat will be in communication with you, and we will get you your free Tanker Barbecue. That's courtesy of our friends at Tanker. Hour number 2 is coming up next. I'll be taking you through hour number 2. We'll talk K-State, unfortunately. We'll also talk Wichita State with Director of Athletics Kevin Saul, and then we'll wrap it up. Jason Justice will drop on by, and we'll have a top 3 Thursday. That's how we'll wrap up the show. Hour number 2 of The Pulse is coming up next here on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
Wichita's sports leader. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. KKGQ Newton.
Rejected! Swatted away by Flory!
Jayhawk fans, March Madness is coming to ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
KU's got it, and the Jayhawks will win!
The home of the Jayhawks, the Big 12 tournament, March Madness, the Final Four, and National Championship.
#1 takedown for the first time in Allen Fieldhouse history.
ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Hey, it's Sean Tarbell with Davis Moore Chevrolet. And this February, you are going to love the huge savings we have on trucks and SUVs. Check out the all-new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT 4x4 and save up to $12,000 off MSRP. Or get 1.9% financing. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on the 2025 Chevy Equinox EV RS all-wheel drive. Go farther and drive smarter. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet. Or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus tax, tax and administrative fees expired March 2nd, 2026.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
The best barbecue deal in town is at Hog Wild. Right now, Hog Wild is serving up a $5.99 meal that's big on flavor and easy on your wallet. Get a 1-meat sandwich, your favorite classic side, and a drink, all for just $5.99. Want brisket? Upgrade to our tender slow smoked beef brisket for only $1.50 more. Pulled pork, juicy chicken, and hot links. Everything is smoked fresh, made daily, and piled high. This is real barbecue at a price that's hard to beat. When you want big flavor and a big deal, head to Hog Wild for the $5.99 meal deal today. Great food, great price, great barbecue. Join us for lunch or dinner, or order online at gohogwild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 6 locations in Wichita, also in Derby, El Dorado, Hutchinson, and Salina.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. Hog Wild, get some for you. But don't be late, we close at 8.
The boats are back at Century 2 with screaming deals on tons of boats at the Marine Specialty Boat Fishing and Hunting Show, February 13th through 15th.
Check out wake surf boats and pontoons, fishing boats, personal watercraft, and cruisers.
Enjoy non-stop entertainment, live stingrays, pro angler demos from a 40-foot stock fish tank.
Get ready for fun in the sun at the Marine Specialty Boat Fishing and Hunting Show, February 13th through 15th at Century 2, presented by Beacon Marine.
Go to WichitaBoatShows.com for info. Kids are free.
The high school game of the week stays in the City League this week as rivals face off. Wichita Heights enters as one of the top teams in 6A. They will look to stay hot as they take on Wichita East in what should be a thrilling matchup this Friday night.
Wichita's sports leader.
Coverage starts at 7 o'clock.
ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. KKGQ
at 7 o'clock on ESPN Wichita 92.3
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi from Milan. It's the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team in its first preliminary round game. Team USA tied at 1 with Latvia, first intermission. NBA, no Luka Doncic for the Lakers tonight against his former team, the Mavericks. He'll miss a fourth straight game with a hamstring strain. Mavs rookie Cooper Flagg's out and for tomorrow's NBA Rising Stars game with a left midfoot sprain. There are, though, a couple of rookies to keep an eye on in tomorrow's game, says ESPN senior NBA writer Mark J. Spears.
Con Knippel has helped make the Charlotte Hornets relevant again. He's been amazing. Dylan Harper, the son of Ron Harper, he's had an excellent rookie campaign. And then also a guy I wrote about today, BJ Edgecombe. Expect him to be extremely competitive. He takes everything serious.
Rising Stars game tomorrow, 9 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Thunder will reevaluate forward Jalen Williams after the All-Star break after he strained his right hamstring for the second time in 4 weeks. North Carolina forward Caleb Wilson, a projected top 5 pick in June's NBA draft, out indefinitely with a fractured left hand, sustained on Tuesday night.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen coming up Friday. I know it's Valentine's Day weekend, but I'll tell you which teams need to break up with their QBs this offseason. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
It's just a public service announcement sponsored by Just Blaze and the good folks at Rockefeller Records.
Fellow Americans, it is with the utmost pride and sincerity that I present this recording as a living testament and recollection of history in the making during our generation.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Ho.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of The Pulse on Wichita's sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM, and streaming on the ESPN Wichita app. I'm Chance Lebo, filling in for Pat today, and want to just say a special thank you to Shane Dennis and to Jack Johnson, of course, for filling in for that hour number 1. It's been a chickens running around with their head cut off kind of week here at ESPN Wichita. Illness going around, other things going on outside of work. I mean, this has been a really chaotic week, and I thought that usually Super Bowl Radio Row would be the end of that, but it has been all that and more this week. And appreciate not only Shane for being versatile and helping out, Jack for helping fill in yesterday in hour number 2, and then eventually we'll get to the Drake here in in less than an hour, as he'll help fill for Jack, because Jack has other things he has to go get to, and then Jack won't be here next week, and Shane will be gone at some points next week. It's starting to get a little bit crazy here at ESPN Wichita. So we appreciate, I appreciate all of those that are helping out and helping make this a smooth transition and keeping everything, making sure there's no real dead air going out over the airwaves at ESPN Wichita. I know that our listeners appreciate it, but I just wanted to say thank you to all those who have been helping out over these last 48 hours or so. And of course, the next week or so is going to be even crazier with Shane being in Hawaii and Jack being in Surprise. It's going to be a pretty fun couple of weeks here at ESPN Wichita. All right, hour number 2 is here, and it is time now to talk about K-State. We'll talk K-State basketball here in just a second. We've got some audio to get to, and then at 3:25, we'll hear from Kevin Saul, Wichita State Director of Athletics. We'll hop on. We'll talk about Hall of Fame weekend at Wichita State, attendance last night at the USF game, ticket deals going on this weekend. It's a big weekend for the Shockers baseball team, opening up at home this week, as well as Tulsa coming to town on Saturday. And then at 3:45, we'll get to a top 3 Thursday with the Drake coming up at 3:45. So that is how hour number 2 will be going. But let's get into K-State and Cincinnati talk. If you have your thoughts and opinions and you haven't aired them out yet, 316-247-0923 is the text line. Shoot us a text with whatever you have on your mind when it comes to K-State and Cincinnati. Cincinnati went into Bramlage Coliseum and walked all over Kansas State. Truly one of the most embarrassing losses in program history for K-State. K-State has already had 2 of the 3 worst home losses in Bramlage Coliseum in terms of overall just margin of victory for the opponent. Jerome Tang now, after last night, owns 3 of the 7 worst home losses in Bramlage Coliseum history, all of them coming in this season. And there have been some dire straits in Manhattan in years that I was too young to remember. that I'm sure that some old heads will be able to tell you all about. But me being a spry 24 years old, I can't tell you about Tom Asbury and Jim Woldridge in those days and the dark days of K-State athletics. I'm not going to be able to walk you through those. All I can tell you is that this K-State Wildcats basketball team might just be as disgraceful of a product that you could put on the floor for a 40-minute period. It is truly I don't want to say a middle finger from Jerome Tang to the donors and the athletic department, but it's pretty damn close. Last night, if you watched on CBS Sports Network, hand in the air, I didn't watch the game. I don't have access to CBS Sports Network. Thank you, DirecTV. So I didn't see the product on the field or on the court. I was at Wichita State last night seeing a different product being put out on the floor. But apparently the product was abysmal, embarrassing, in fact. And students showed up to the game wearing paper bags over their heads, not only paper bags, but Aldi bags. They're that cheap in the student section in Manhattan. Messages such as SOS, anyone got $18 million. Please fire Jerome Tang. And not only that, but Jerome Tang was booed during introductions. And, I thought that given the circumstances, given the fight that K-State showed on Saturday in Fort Worth for the first 36 minutes of action, I thought at least we would see Jerome Tang's unit provide a little bit of a fight. I thought that the funniest situation imaginable was Jerome Tang's group going out and winning a basketball game and Jerome Tang having to go up into the student section that so obviously despises him and doing his little song and dance. But that never came to pass. My dream of just chaos, it never became a reality. K-State was trounced at home as Cincinnati's offense was really humming early. They had 11 points before the first timeout, under 16 timeout. And after taking that 11-7 lead with 15 and a half to play in the first half, Cincinnati opened up a can of whoop 'em. They outscored K-State 30-8 in the next 10 minutes to make it 41-15, and it was never a contest after that. From the 14-minute mark to the 5-minute mark, PJ Haggerty was the only Wildcat that scored a field goal and scored a single point in a 41-15 deficit. Cincinnati would lead 53-31 at halftime, and it was not like Cincinnati is some gauntlet. We've heard some teams play better on the road, Kansas State being one of them. Jerome Tang talked about it, that his team has played better on the road this season compared to at home. And he talked about it in the post-game presser that we'll hear from in a little bit. But Cincinnati is not one of those teams. I'll be quite frank about that. Cincinnati's not a team that has played well away from home. In their previous road games, you have a 75-54 loss at Houston, a loss on the road at Arizona State, in which that was right after their head coach came out and basically said, we don't have a very good home court. We don't have a very good basketball team. And they lost to Arizona State on the road then. They lost at UCF. They lost at West Virginia. They lost to Clemson and Georgia on neutral sites, as well as Louisville. They also lost at Xavier. Cincinnati, coming into last night, had not won a single game on the road. Cincinnati, as well, had not scored more than 80 points in a game on the road. Cincinnati averaged 63 points per game away from home. They had 53 points at halftime last night. They shot 57% from the floor. They shot 64% from three. They had just 1.47 points per possession. They scored on 61% of their possessions, and they forced 8 turnovers. K-State had just 4 fouls in the first half. And while you might be thinking, well, hey, at least they're playing disciplined basketball, to me, that shows a true lack of effort. That's what that shows me, is a awful, awful effort. Non-Haggerty players, and I'm not a huge PJ Haggerty fan, I'll let that be known, shot 6 of 21 in the first half, turned it over 8 times, and had just 12 rebounds. It was an awful showing for everybody that was not paid like PJ Haggerty. I'm not saying Haggerty is without blame. He's been awful this season until it's garbage time and it's time for him to get his numbers. But K-State would fight tooth and nail. You got to give them a lot of credit. They got the lead all the way down to a measly 18 with under 19 to play in the second half. Cincinnati would then go on a 10-0 run, and it was capped off by a Baba Miller putback dunk on his own free throw attempt. I have never seen a putback dunk on someone's own free throw attempt. I think that is when it was really dark times in Manhattan. That's when it became not just embarrassing, but kind of comedic to a certain degree. If you're a K-State fan, there are some fans out there, and I'm one of them, where it's kind of like, I kind of want to see how bad it can get. I want to see Jerome Tang combust on the sideline. I want to see just the inner workings of his mind, because Shane talked about it on his show, and I think it's a great look into how unprepared Jerome Tang is to win basketball games. He talked about how his press conferences are like in reverse order. Usually you would attack the players, then you would use the blame of illness or injury, then you would attack the officials, then you would attack the NCAA, and then eventually you would take the blame on yourself, which Jerome Tang has yet to do. None of this has been Jerome Tang's fault, of course. He is high and mighty. Rules for thee, but not for me. I'm Jerome Tang. I make so much millions of dollars to be the head coach of a prestigious basketball university such as Kansas State that I love so dearly that I'm running into the ditch, that I cannot be a blame for this. God put me here in this spot to be the head coach at Kansas State. So I truly cannot be the person to blame for the shortcomings of this basketball program. But at the end of the day, Jerome Tang, with a basketball budget that I don't think is a top 10 budget in the country. I don't even think it's top 15, but it's probably top 25. And Jerome Tang has had his pick of the litter when it comes to players. And right now, Jerome Tang is without blame for any of the players that he sought out to put on the floor for Kansas State. And he's throwing them all under the bus right now. Hey, I'm coaching these guys really hard. They got to show that they want to. I don't even think it looks like Jerome Tang wants to. Watch him on the bench. Everything is complaining this, complaining that. I don't see any kind of fight from the guy who is in charge of this situation. And, I mean, you can look at the final score and say, wow, that was really bad. It could have been a lot worse. Cincinnati and K-State, neither of them scored in the final 2 minutes. Cincinnati had one bucket after the final media timeout. They took their foot off the gas. PJ Haggerty, hey, man, congrats. You're a fantastic scorer, but you'll never be a winning basketball player. You're 24 points on 11 of 18 shooting. I mean, that's going to look really good for the Chicago Bulls next year on a two-way deal when they're resting all their starters and they're trying to tank, and you're getting just the most empty baskets imaginable. But hey, at least you got your 24, and your agent can post it on his Instagram highlights to make sure that everybody knows that PJ Haggerty is going to be a commodity in the NBA next year. But the rest of the team, an abysmal 7 free throw attempts in an entire college basketball game, 9 assists to 16 turnovers. That is hilariously bad. Cincinnati shot 57% from three. And it's kind of a trend for Cincinnati. They were shooting 59% from three in their last 2 games after shooting 28% from three in their last 10 conference games. And, the comedic part of this basketball program is not really exactly what happens on the floor. Well, that might be comedic as is. It really is comedic to watch, Cream Bigham's out there saying, hey, this is my time to shine. And give credit to Marcus Johnson. Somebody brought up last night. I'm not even going to bring it up because it's rude to a person that probably doesn't deserve for it to be rude to. Marcus Johnson, it's not his fault that he's asked to be doing this. But last night, I think that the most embarrassing part of it was just the blight. And Jack brought it up. Wyatt Thompson's been a part of the university well before Jerome Tang was a part of the university, and he is going to be a part of Kansas State athletics much longer than Jerome Tang's name is etched into the head coaching position at Kansas State. People will have forgotten about Jerome Tang when Wyatt Thompson calls it quits. Wyatt Thompson, salt of the earth. I'm not biased in this. I'm a K-State guy, but Jack's a KU guy. Jack will go to war for Wyatt Thompson, one of the best human beings in the industry, and Jerome Tang thought he was on a pedestal last night compared to Wyatt Thompson. Here is Jerome Tang last night in the radio broadcast or the radio postgame. And Mason Voth pulled this, friend of the show, friend of the program. Mason Voth pulled this from the K-State postgame show on the radio, in which Jerome Tang gave one answer to a single question. And here is what Jerome Tang had to say after the game to Wyatt Thompson.
Joining us here live courtside. I know you're a very frustrated man right now. Just your thoughts.
No, I'm an embarrassed man. I'm embarrassed for our university. I'm embarrassed for our fans. I'm embarrassed for our student section. None of these dudes deserve to wear this uniform. And we got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And folks, this thing is going to get changed. Thanks a lot. God bless. Go Cats.
Thank you, Coach. Well, there you have it. Jerome Tang with post-game comments, or not much, but probably expected as K-State gets routed here tonight, 91-62. Back with more in a moment on the K-State Sports Network from Learfield.
Marcus Johnson iso ball. David Castillo going 3 of 10 from the floor. Having to start Taj Manning, a literal walk-on for a majority of conference play. None of that is as embarrassing as that little excerpt right there. Wyatt Thompson is a real professional, and he was not even allowed to get through the one question that Jerome Tang gave him the time to ask. There are clauses in Jerome Tang's contract that require him to talk to media, including but not limited to Wyatt Thompson. And right now, he is just he's not even honoring his contract that'll grant him $18 million when he's fired this offseason. And the word that was used the most in that little excerpt of a short clip of a post-game presser, or what was a post-game radio interview, the first word and the word he used the most, and it describes Jerome Tang to a T, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I think the players are probably embarrassed that they were unprepared to take on a Cincinnati team that 2 games ago had trouble putting up 50 points against West Virginia. I think the players are embarrassed that they have to take the floor for 40 minutes with the student section wearing bags over their heads. I think the players are probably more embarrassed than Jerome Tang is, because the difference is when the players leave this offseason, and some of them will go places where they feel appreciated, they don't get $18 million to leave. Jerome Tang is in a position where right now it is a game of cat and mouse between him, the Ahern Fund, and Gene Taylor, where it is how bad can it get where they're going to pay me $18 million to go away, and I'm going to milk every ounce out of this university. I'm going to make them pay me everything they're willing to pay. And while some might fault that to Gene Taylor, the athletic director, for signing what was a poison pill contract for the athletic department, I mean, there was plenty of scrutiny around the makings of the Jerome Tang contract when it happened. But for Jerome Tang, not only, I mean, the post-game presser, the press conference where he had 2 questions. I'm not going to have Jack play it because it's not worth your time. It wasn't worth my time. And I feel bad for, there are people that cover the program, and I'm sure that K-Witch and Cake and KSN were all up in Manhattan last night. They probably sent a reporter from Wichita or wherever they report from to Manhattan to report on the game. They had to sit through that abysmal performance, and then their money shot was a 2-minute and 28-second press conference from Jerome Tang in which he said, I'll answer 2 questions. And that's it. Number one, well, the first question was, I'm not going to fault the reporter for it, had to do with home and road splits. I don't think anybody that is associated with the program really gives a rat's behind about home road splits. And the second one had to do with the students wearing bags over their heads. And, we are in the Wichita media. I'm part of it. I know that everybody associated with the Wichita media is very grateful for Paul Mills. Paul Mills provides unprecedented just access to the Wichita State program. They have multiple media days during the offseason where it's kind of a catch-up. He provides great access to Taylor Eldridge via the Wichita Eagle. He has midweek press conferences. He has post-game press conferences. And I thought that Paul Mills last night could have easily cut every question short and left, because last night's performance was not up to standard for Wichita State. Paul Mills let the media know that without throwing every single player under the bus. Wichita is very lucky to have Paul Mills in the man that he is, an upstanding human being. While you might have your opinion on him as a coach, that's your own opinion. But Paul Mills would never do something like that. Paul Mills has not done something like that. He very well could have after last night's game. But Jerome Tang doesn't provide access to the media for his program. Jerome Tang had a player that he coached and brought onto his staff arrested on Monday for domestic violence against a female. And Jerome Tang, in his first immediate appearance after that incident, took 2 questions because his team performed so poorly on the court that he couldn't answer to the questions off the court. Now, he also said, we've got practice at 6 a.m. Hand in the air, I'll call BS on that. There is no way in hell that they had a 6 a.m. practice the day after a game. I can guarantee you that. And if they did, it was probably 3 or 4 players showed up to it. But there's no that is look at me BS that will never that has never happened and will never happen. 6 a.m. practice. The NCAA does not let you have that. And so for Jerome Tang to say that, everybody knows he's lying through his teeth because he is so checked out. He's not going to be going to that. You think he wants to show up for that? No way. He's on the phone with his agent right now talking about a trip to Cancun in the middle of March. There's no way that Jerome Tang had a practice at 6 a.m. And for those of you that believe that, that's your own decision. And to throw each and every player under the bus saying that none of these guys will be back next year, Jerome, do us a favor. And maybe do yourself a favor. Forfeit the season. If none of these guys are going to be back next year, what's the point? What is the point? Because I know that you think you'll be back next year. I know a part of you might hope that you're not back next year so you can get your payday from this athletic department in some $18 million. But why don't you do these players a favor who obviously, according to last night's performance, do not want to be a part of this program? Do them a favor and forfeit. Just forfeit the season. Who was it last year? What was it? New Mexico State? Somebody just called the season and said, we just aren't going to play the rest of the season last year in the college ranks. And it was, I believe, one of Shane's stories of the week. It's never going to be done. But Jerome Tang, they head to Houston on Saturday. And I'm really curious to see how they do against Houston. I'll be laying a first half line with Houston because Houston plays on Big Monday. They have bigger fish to fry than a K-State team that is drowning and dead in the water. But it every single week proves to you that the old saying, well, it can't get worse. Guess what? It can. And Jerome Tang continues to prove things will get worse. Beatings will continue until morale improves. And folks, it ain't getting much better. This has been an embarrassing season. K-State is now 1-10. And in their remaining home games, it's not like they have a big game on their home schedule remaining. They have Baylor, TCU, West Virginia remaining on their home schedule. And I know there are a lot of Jayhawk fans out there that are listening to this show, and some of them are cackling at this talk because Jerome Tang has done plenty of victory laps over the school in Lawrence. But KU gets K-State on senior day. I hope Bill Self leaves the starters in for 40 minutes and just lays it on Jerome Tang and puts those flowers on his headstone while he coaches himself out of a job and probably will never be a head coach again at the Division I level, because this stretch of games this season has been a how to never be a head coach in Division I basketball again for dummies book written by and signed by head coach Jerome Tang. We got to hit a break, but when we come back, we will talk to Director of Athletics for Kevin Saul. Big weekend for the Shockers coming up in every aspect. We'll talk to Director of Athletics Kevin Saul when we come back. It's The Pulse on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
The heartbeat of Wichita sports fans. The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
You will absolutely love February at Seven Clans First Council Casino and Resort. Simply swipe your Seven Clans reward card for a chance at food, free play, and cash. Earn rewards for Mardi Gras Mania on February 24th with a $10,000 cash giveaway. And be our Valentine every Saturday. One person will win $5,000 in cash every Saturday night. It's all at Seven Clans First Council Resort and Casino, home of Oklahoma certified Lucis Slots, Highway 77 in Newkirk.
Hi, this is Brian Davis with Davis Liquor Outlet, and this is Blake.
All right, Chance, we got Kevin and Justice is taking over right now.
Awesome,
just
thanks.
$2.99. And for you white wine lovers, Kim Crawford.
It really is awesome. I appreciate you saying that.
Davis Liquor Outlet, each store independently owned and operated.
Wichita owned, Wichita proud.
Hey, it's Sean Tarbell with Davis Moore Chevrolet. And this February, you are going to love the huge savings we have on trucks and SUVs. Check out the all-new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT 4x4 and save up to $12,000 off MSRP. Or get 1.9% financing. Save up to $13,000 off MSRP on the 2025 Chevy Equinox EV RS all-wheel drive. Go farther and drive smarter. Together, let's drive at Davis Moore Chevrolet, or check us out online at davis-moorechevrolet.com. All offers plus title, tax, and administrative fees expire March 2nd, 2026.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain? At Midwest Pain Relief Center, we provide cutting-edge, drug-free therapies to help you live a more active, full life right here in Wichita and the surrounding communities. We're Kansas' top integrated medical clinic focused on finding and treating the root cause for your pain with personalized care. No prescriptions, no unnecessary surgeries. Call 316-295-3662 today or visit MidwestPainReliefCenter.com or drop by 151 North Ridge, Suite 6 in Wichita. Midwest Pain Relief Center. Stop hurting, start healing.
The ESPN Wichita app is available now for both Android and Apple. Go to your app store and download today. All you have to do is search ESPN Wichita and take the station with you wherever you go. While you're there, find podcasts of your favorite shows. Sign up for our app-only contests. Send a text into the show and much more. The ESPN Wichita app, your source for sports in Wichita. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Welcome back to The Pulse here on Wichita's Sports Leader, ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM, and streaming on the ESPN Wichita app. Chance Lebo here with you, filling in for Pat today, as we are pleased to be joined on the horn now by Wichita State Director of Athletics, Kevin Saul, as he previews what is probably the biggest weekend of the year for Wichita State Athletics. The baseball team getting things in swing. They open up at home this weekend. It's Valentine's Day as well. You've got Tulsa coming to town. The softball team's in action. It's Hall of Fame night coming up on Saturday. Kevin, has there ever been a better time to be a Shocker than right now?
Oh, it's a lot of fun right now. And don't forget Valentine's Day. So all you procrastinators out there, that's coming up on Saturday, so put some thought into it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of fans will be getting Shocker tickets to Tulsa for in their Valentine's Day card, because Wichita State has a big home one coming up on Saturday against Tulsa. While last night's loss definitely stings when it comes to the American Conference race, Wichita State sits in a favorable position right now when it comes to American Conference play, considering that the top two teams get a double bye. So while they might be a couple games back of South Florida right now, they still have everything in front of them when it comes to Tulsa, and that should be a rocking environment come on Saturday.
Yeah, we've got 7 teams that are within 2 games of first place, so it's going to come right down to the wire. Painful last night. I thought we played one of our best halves of the year, that first half. The measuring stick for success last night was really about offensive rebounds and rebounding in general. And we came in at half, we were +6, and all 6 of those were on the plus side, offensive rebounding. We were dead even on defensive. And I think it's really important, Chance, just to think about that, because we're like 9th in the country in offensive rebounding percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say South Florida was either 1 or 2 in the country. So just 2 elite offensive rebounding teams. And that was really the key to it, is limiting, getting second chances and then limiting your opponent's second chances. So you go in at half up 7, wind up taking a disappointing loss because we lost that edge on rebounding second half. And, we had a great crowd there last night. We're running a ticket special. We were doing 2 tickets for $25 total, a GA ticket to South Florida and a GA ticket to Tulsa. I will tell you that based on sales and projections for Saturday, I think we'll have a little bit better crowd on Saturday than we did last night. So it's another opportunity for our guys to prove themselves in front of a larger group of folks in Charles Koch Arena and a Wichita community. Because, Chance, it is so critically important for us to achieve what we want to achieve with this program, which is NCAA tournaments and getting to the second weekend of the NCAA tournaments. There is no chicken and egg for us. At the end of the day, you have to invest on the front end to expect results on the back end. And we need to fill up Charles Koch Arena with 8,000-9,000 folks every game to maintain the lifestyle and the resourcing that we need for 16 sports and a championship level basketball program.
Yeah, and the program is. I feel like this year's crowds have really improved upon years past. I think the buy-in on the Paul Mills era is starting to really show, and especially with this year's team, it's been a lot more success on the floor, especially sustained success. In years past, there's been some bumps in the road. This year's team, Taylor Eldridge and I have talked about, this is probably the best team Paul Mills has put on the floor, and a lot of it has to be credited to some of the donors that helped donate to Wheat Shock NIL and the We Fight for Wichita Fund.
Yeah, there's no question. The university has made significant investments. Athletics has shifted and made some really significant investments in basketball because that's the economic engine that drives everything that we do within athletics. We've got a group of really, really strong donors that have helped us in that area. And at the end of the day, Chance, the dollars that come in mass come from filling those seats in there. You know, it's the season tickets, it's the seat donations, gives us the opportunity to host 16 sports programs, to have a championship level basketball program. As it relates to Paul Mills, I don't think that you can reasonably make the argument that, you know, his year 2 team was better. There was more talent on that team than year 1, and there's more talent in year 3 than there is in year 2, and that's a direct relation to, you know, their history in coaching and their experience and their reputation in the industry, but it's also reflective of our increased investments in roster resources. So really important. I think if you went back and looked at the now 9-year history of Paul Mills as a head coach, he's gotten better record-wise every year in the 6 years at Oral Roberts. He's done that here. And so that progressive development from year to year and game to game has been very evident. It's been a trademark of his programs.
Talking to Wichita State Director of Athletics, Kevin Saul here. The Shockers with 3 home games left on the schedule. And, you know, we put a lot of effort into this South Florida Tulsa twofer, especially with it being this week, Shockers being a game back entering the week. But it's not just those games. They get Temple next Saturday as well. And then it'll be senior night, March 7th on that Saturday. It'll be a home game against Florida Atlantic. And there's a real opportunity that Wichita State is going to have an opportunity in both of those games to be able to get a head-to-head win against teams they're very neck and neck in the standings with.
Yeah, there's no question. When you look at the standings right now, there's some half games in there based on the total number of games played, but we sit at 2 games back with UAB, who we beat at their place, so certainly would win that tiebreaker. We sit a half a game back at Charlotte and split with those guys. We're a half a game back at Temple, and we play them at our place. We're a half a game back from Memphis, and we play them at their place. We've got Tulsa, who's a game ahead of us. We got them here on Saturday. So it's all in front of us. And as you mentioned, the American Athletic Conference tournament that's coming up in March has a new format, and the top 2 teams get a double bye. 3 and 4 get a single bye. So if you finish in the top 4 in the league, you're automatically in the quarters. You finish in the top 2, you're automatically in the semis. And so at the end of the day, we've got to position ourselves at an advantageous spot to get a bye or a double bye. So we got a real chance to go to Birmingham and win that thing.
And that's the most important thing, especially in this day and age. The American looking like it's probably a one bid league, unless some things certainly fall in the Americans' favor. And you know, Birmingham's going to be the season really. And Paul Mills has had a lot of success in the American Conference tournament over his tenure here at Wichita State. But when it comes to the women's side of things, the Women's Basketball Invitational Tournament, I've seen some promos for that, not only at the Shocker games, but I've seen them on television. Kind of talk about the investment that Wichita State is putting in the Women's Basketball Invitational.
Well, women's basketball is really important for us. You know, we put a significant investment in our women's basketball program, in our roster resources, and certainly not having the season that we want. It's not for a lack of resources. We've got to get better in women's basketball. It's a really important part for us. And part of that is investing in and hosting external events. So the WBIT is outside of the NCAA tournament for women's basketball is the premier postseason event. We successfully secured that event here in Charles Koch Arena, and ticket sales are going well. We'll have some high-level basketball programs that will be participating in that. And we're excited about that. And this is an administration that prides itself on hosting a lot of external events. You may have seen the news several months ago that Wichita was voted by a national publication as a nation's best sporting event host city in the country. And between Visit Wichita, the Sports Commission, and Wichita State Athletics, hosting events like that's really, really important to us. So we look forward to that event in March, and just encourage people to come down to Charles Koch Arena, get your tickets for the WBIT. It'd be some really high-level women's basketball.
And when you bring up those external events, whether it be the TBT or whether it is the WBIT, what are some of the other events that you guys are on the lookout for? You don't have to go into the specifics, but what are some of those events that is kind of on your guys' radar when it comes to hosting some of those really cool events that you guys can be a part of?
Yeah, so the Acacia events are really important to us. Obviously, track has a long-standing history in former Cessna Stadium, now University Stadium, been over 70 years there. That's an event that brings about $7 million of direct economic impact to the city of Wichita and Sedgwick County from within and outside the county. And it's really, really important to us. And we've got baseball, softball, we do basketball as well. And then I think you get into prospective events. When University Stadium is finished up, we plan to be hosting high school football games, high school soccer games. We want to host state championships. We want to get a division of state championship football back in University Stadium. And then you've got a whole bevy of track events. The NCAA has encouraged us to bid for the national championship. You've got NCAA regionals. You've got all of the USATF Track and Field Association championships. You got Junior Olympics. So those are really, really important for us. And University Stadium, if we're doing our job well, should be hosting between 200 and 250 events a year. And so a lot of good things going on there. As you may have read, the Ignite K96 district on the northeast corner up by K96 is going to include a brand new $18 million tennis facility for Wichita State. And not only bringing in regular season, postseason championships collegiately, but we're looking at ITA, USTA, getting the Wichita Open down there. That's an opportunity for us to do some really nice things from an external event standpoint as well. So we keep our eye on that. It is a major revenue stream for not only Shocker Athletics, but for the community and the county in general as well.
Talking to Director of Athletics for Wichita State, Kevin Saul, here on a Thursday. The Hall of Fame weekend, kind of run through what that's going to look like. I saw that there's going to be some conference champion and Final Four teams being honored this week against Tulsa. Kind of run through what fans can be expecting for that, and those fans that yearn for the glory days of Shocker Athletics, I'm sure they're going to be excited to see some old faces in new places this week.
Yeah, so the actual team reunions will be at the Temple game. So that Temple game is on Saturday, February 21st. So we're about a week away from that one. But this weekend is Hall of Fame weekend. And so really, really important that we honor a Hall of Fame class every year. We've got 5 members of this class. You got Jazreel Tan with bowling. You've got 2 baseball guys in Billy Hall and Damon Sublette. You've got Lou Merriman in track and field, and Lou is north of 80 years old, and we're trying to get him down from Kansas City, but a great honor for him and his family. And then you've got Tanya Friesen with track and field. So we'll have a really nice banquet, formal event on Friday night in the multi-purpose practice facility. And then we will honor those guys at halftime of the game this Saturday. So we're really excited about that, but also encourage, as you mentioned, we've got 2 or 3 alumni basketball teams coming back on Saturday, February 21st. For the Temple game, and I think folks will really, really enjoy being a part of that. That is also Mike Kennedy Day, and we are doing some really nice things to honor Mike on that particular day, and would love to have a sold-out Charles Koch Arena to celebrate Mike and his 42 years of affiliation with Wichita State.
Yeah, nobody bleeds gold and black like Mike Kennedy does. I'm sure it'll be a great crowd on hand, and I can't wait to see the support for a guy like Mike Kennedy, who's been, like you said, Shocker voice for a long, long time, and he's hanging him up this year. This week, it's not just a big week for the basketball team. The baseball team gets in action, opening up at home for the first time in a while, so it gives Shocker fans an opportunity to see their baseball team in action. A lot of new faces on the team. They've had some open practices that you've been able, that fans and alumni have been able to come out and watch. What is the read on Brian Green's squad this year, and how excited are you guys for being able to have another great season on the diamond?
Well, super excited. I will tell you, just little bit of context, Brian came in 2 years ago, had an up and down year. We had a really tough April and a phenomenal May. We were peaking at the right time. We went all the way to the championship game of the American Conference Tournament 2 years ago, lost in the 10th inning to basically return to an NCAA regional for the first time in 11 or 12 years at that point. So felt really good about that. Had a disappointing season last year. Not spend a whole lot of time on that, but for a number of different reasons. You got 31 new players and 4 or 5 new staff on this group. The feel, the vibe, whatever you want to call it, the culture, that piece is really good. We haven't hit any adversity yet, so obviously we've got to work our way through that. But, Chance, we've got probably 4 or 5 guys that can hit the long ball. We feel like we've got some really nice depth on the starting pitching. The bullpen is better. I was talking with Gene Stevenson the other day, and he comes to a lot of practices, and he commented that it is very perceptible that the infield defense is much better than last year as well. So we feel like we got a good club. Obviously, there's 56 games. It's a long journey that starts this weekend. We've got a game on Friday at 3 o'clock tomorrow against Northern Colorado. Weather should be good. We have currently scheduled a doubleheader for Saturday that might shift to a doubleheader for Sunday based on the weather. But we got 4 games set against Northern Colorado. So come on out to Eck, get your tickets, and watch this 2026 version of Shocker Baseball. We're excited about it and look forward to these guys getting to compete against somebody other than themselves.
And then the softball team, they had a really good showing on this last weekend. I know it was not so great in the win column, but for the Shocker softball team and the Friday Christie Breadbetters, they had a solid week in Waco in terms of showing that they can really hang with some of the top power conference opponents.
Boy, I tell you what, they did a nice job. We walked away 2-3. You've got a loss to number 22 Mississippi State in there that went extra innings into the 8th. Did a really nice job competing there. You've got a 3-2 loss to Baylor where we were actually up 2-0 and gave up the 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th in really heartbreaking fashion. You've got a close win against a quality Northwestern State program. A 9-8 loss against Baylor where we scored 6 runs in the top of the 7th to go up whatever that was, 8-6, and then they scored another 3 runs in the bottom. So end of the day, we got to figure out how to close games and finish games. That's a skill that has to be acquired. Got to win against New Mexico, but they're in San Marcos this weekend. Play Texas State twice, which has always been a really good club out of the Sun Belt. They open up with number 9 in the country, Arkansas. We play number 18 in the country, Clemson. And we also have BYU. So really, really firm weekend, and look forward to softball continuing their journey.
And then the track and field team is busy as always. I believe outdoor season is getting started here soon. Kind of talk about what the track team has been up to and the early returns on them.
Yeah, we've got another 2 weeks of indoor. They are split squad this weekend, I believe, Fayetteville, and then Topeka at Washburn. One more weekend, and then we get into the conference championship indoor is down at the Metroplex, I believe is what it's called, in Birmingham. And then we get into outdoor season. Coach Rainbolt and the staff, their teams are typically built to make a serious run at the outdoor championships, less events at the indoors, but really look forward to this group. I think the men have a legitimate chance at a conference championship in the outdoors, and the women have continued to get better each year. But I really enjoy that group and the way that Coach Rainbolt and the staff build those teams. Give you an example. A couple of years ago, we won the conference championship. We beat Houston and South Florida. We were 70 points behind going into the last day, but we beat those guys. We did not have one individual event champion in the 21 events. And Houston, I think, had 6 individual champions, but we beat them anyway because we have a lot of depth in a lot of different events. So there's a variety of ways to build a track program, and our guys choose to do that with some breadth and depth at every event. It's really fun to watch them compete.
Wrapping things up with Kevin Saul here, Director of Athletics for Wichita State. Coming up this weekend, what are some promotions that you guys are doing at Charles Koch Arena? Just for the people that might be tuning in for didn't catch the early part of this interview, what's kind of the promo items going on this week? I know you guys had free Chick-fil-A sandwiches last night for students, but I'm sure that it's going to be a raucous environment on Saturday against Tulsa on Valentine's Day evening.
Chance, we're trying to bribe our students. We're throwing free pizza, free chicken sandwich, we got all kinds of things going. We did reduced price beers for our students that are of age. So just trying to do a lot of different things. Prior to the South Florida game, we introduced a ridiculously unsustainable pricing model for GA tickets in the upper level for those two games at $25, $12.50 per game. So obviously you got that going on with Tulsa as well. We've got the Hall of Fame, obviously, celebration at halftime. We've got a few giveaways. I don't have that in front of me, but we've got some nice giveaways. Tulsa's a really important and long-standing rival for us. So we expect a big crowd. We'd like to be close to 8,000 in Charles Koch Arena on Saturday night, give our guys a chance to prove themselves in front of a really great crowd and finish this season strong.
Yeah, it should be a really fun night. Saturday night, Tulsa comes to town, rivalry matchup with Wichita State. Kevin, thanks so much for your time, and I'm sure I'll see you at some point here in the next couple weeks.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having us on the show, and go Shockers.
That's Director of Athletics Kevin Saul walking away right now as Wichita State has a big weekend on tap. Men's basketball, baseball, softball, Hall of Fame weekend coming up. If you want to be involved, Wichita State has a way for you to do so. Big weekend for the Shocks coming up this weekend. We'll preview that tomorrow here on The Pulse when we have our Davis Moore Chevrolet Drive to Victory. When we come back, the Drake is in, and we'll talk to him. We'll have a Top 3 Thursday, and we will wrap up today's show and send you on to the program. You're listening to The Pulse on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
This is The Pulse on Wichita's new sports leader, ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
At Dam Pharmacies, we're here to make your life easier with 7 locations in Derby, Rose Hill, Andover, Mulvane, and Wichita. Getting the care you need is always convenient. We offer fast prescription fills, personalized compounding, medication synchronization, and more, all with a friendly, helpful team that truly cares about your health. Stop by today and see how we make pharmacy simple, personal, and convenient. You'll be damn glad you did.
The boats are back at Century 2 with screaming deals on tons of boats at the Marine Specialty Boat Fishing and Hunting Show, February 13th through 15th.
Check out wake surf boats and pontoons, fishing boats, personal watercraft, and cruisers.
Enjoy non-stop entertainment, live stingrays, pro angler demos from a 40-foot stock fish tank.
Get ready for fun in the sun at the Marine Specialty Boat Fishing and Hunting Show, February 13th through 15th at Century 2, presented by Beacon Marine.
Go to WichitaBoatShows.com for info. Kids are free.
Hey, Shocker fans, join Wichita State men's basketball in celebrating legendary voice of the Shockers, Mike Kennedy, at their game versus Temple on Saturday, February 21st at 5 p.m. inside Charles Koch Arena. Mike is retiring after 46 years with the Shockers, and we're celebrating him with a special halftime ceremony. Concession specials in his honor, and by giving Mike Kennedy pennants to the first 1,000 fans. Plus, general admission tickets are 2 for $21 while supplies last. Secure your seat for this special night at GoShockers.com/tickets or call 316-978-FANS.
The 2026 NBA All-Star Game on ESPN Radio.
The NBA is going back to the USA versus World format. 3 teams that consist of 8-man rosters. 2 of those rosters will be made of American players, and the 3rd roster will be made of international players.
The 2026 NBA All-Star Game.
Coverage begins Sunday at 4 on your home for the NBA playoffs. ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
Wrapping up the show for today, a February 12th edition of The Pulse, as we are pleased to be joined now by, well, I'm our second host of the day, and we have our second producer of the day sitting in. The Drake is wrapping up the show today. Jack is out at the College Baseball Hall of Fame induction for the evening, getting some great stuff for 810, and we are lucky to be joined by the Drake here. Drake, it's been a while since we talked, since we last talked, your beloved Bulldogs, I mean, what's going on up in Des Moines? Have you kind of shifted teams at all? Have you been watching Ben McCullum and company in Iowa? Because last night I saw Bennett Sturts was on a heater.
I've kept an eye on them. I got to come down to Wichita last year and see Drake play down there. They lost, but it was really fun to see my squad. I'm keeping an eye on Drake basketball, but it is bittersweet to see, some of the team and the former coach move on. A couple of years ago when Keno Davis had a great first year as Drake coach, he left after 1 year. So that's kind of what happens with mid majors a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of especially in the transfer portal era, it's hard to stay good for long when you're not in the power conference level. But we just like to have some fun here, and we'll have some fun here. Drake, how familiar are you with Top 3 Thursday? Did Jack run you through it at all?
He talked to me about it a little bit, yeah.
Okay, so we will go through. What do you want? Do you want football, basketball, or baseball? I'll let you pick which one you want, because it'll be we go through and I have a name in mind, and I will have that name, and then I'll enter it into Pro Football Reference, Basketball Reference, or Baseball Reference, and Drake will try and pick out the top 3 names on the board.
I'm a baseball guy, so let's go baseball.
Okay, let's go baseball. The name, obviously, we aren't going to go with Drake. Actually, we will go with Drake. We'll see if Drake can get the top 3 Drake baseball players. And now, I'm not sure. Would you rather me go Jason or would you rather me go Drake? Because I can do one or the other.
Let's do Jason, because I can't think of a single Drake.
The top one on the board, and I'll just give you the hint, and we'll see if you can get it. The National League Rookie of the Year last year.
Is it Jason or is it
Drake?
Oh, I didn't even read. I'm drawing a total blank.
Drake Baldwin. We'll go to Jason. Okay. All right. There's 3 answers on the board. One of them is still active. Surprisingly, I did not know he was still active, but there's 3 up on the board, and we'll let you have your pick of it.
Well, the one that comes to mind first of all played in the 80s, Jason Thompson, who was a Pirate. I had a lot of his baseball cards.
Wow, Jason Thompson. I believe they have 10 names on here. Jason Thompson isn't even a top pick.
Okay. And then there was a weird spelling of Jason Nix. He had a Y in there, JAYSON Nix.
No, he's not on here either. So full transparency, it's JASON is how I spelled it, and so it'll be
the correct way to spell it.
Yes, it is. It is the correct way to spell it. So I won't be getting any of the non-correct Jason spellings up here. So I've got
Jason Giambi.
Yes, so Jason Giambi is the first one on the board. So you've got one that retired in 2010 and one that started in 2010.
Hayward.
Yes, Jason Hayward's on there. Did you know he was still active? Maybe I don't know if he's signed yet, but I was shocked when I saw that Jason Hayward is still an active Major League Baseball player.
I haven't seen him play in a little while, but he's been around a long time. Wouldn't shock me. Let's see, Kipnis.
No, Kipnis would have been the first one of the first ones I went to. He is down at 5th on the board, although he gave the Royals fits for years.
Yeah. Who else could there be? Jason's. I can think of some Justices.
Well, we could knock out. Jason Justice,
David
Justice from Moneyball, because we had Jason Giambi, who was a character in Moneyball, and then David Justice in Moneyball. This is not a character in Moneyball, although he might have appeared in it, not on purpose, but for a team. Well, I guess he didn't play for the team that I was thinking he did.
Jason Veritek?
No, he's not. He is on here. He's down. He's the 8th name on there. Although that's a solid pick. This one played for the Royals.
Oh, I'll probably cross paths with him then. I'm drawing a total blank.
Played 118 games for the Royals in 2010.
Well, I covered him then, and I can't think. 110 games. What position?
Catcher.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can picture him. I can't think of his name. Who is it?
Jason Kendall.
Oh,
yeah.
He's still with the team.
Yeah,
he's still with the team.
I, for some reason, thought he was a Yankees guy. I thought he played for the Yankees for some reason, but he didn't.
Oh, he played for the Royals and the Pirates. A's, started as a catcher, fast catcher.
Yeah.
Ended up breaking and played first base, broke his ankle pretty horribly. He was in the Royals front office during the World Series run. I'm not sure if he's still with the team or Jason Kendall.
Yeah, well, let me see what he's up to. Let me see what his LinkedIn profile says. Jason Kendall. I, for some reason, thought he played for the Yankees. Shane is probably much better at this game. He's with the Pirates right now in a player development role.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was the team that drafted him. So that makes sense.
That's where he played the most with.
Yeah. Yeah. He was one of those get in the dirt and get hurt and rub some dirt in and get back in the game kind of guys. He was a hard-nosed player.
Yeah, there's a generation gap of catchers, and Kendall's kind of in that middle of the pack where he was between generations. And I always liked that style of catcher, whether it was him or some of the guys. I'd never watched Jason Kendall play. He retired a couple years before I started watching baseball. But yeah, right. Jason Kendall's a name that I was familiar with. I said he played it might have been in Moneyball, but it was inadvertently. But he was not with the A's when they were winning all those games.
No, he came. The Pirates traded him there, or he went as a free agent. I don't remember. He wasn't an A for very long, but yeah, wow.
Yeah, he was there for.
Forgotten all about him.
Yeah, he's kind of when you play for the Royals from anywhere from 1989 to 2010, you kind of get lost in translation unless you're Carlos Beltran or any of those guys.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there's some real stinkers in that Royals era, but Kendall wasn't one of them. He played well at times.
Oh yeah, there were people like Eduardo Villasís that played one game and then was never in the majors again.
Yeah,
Caesar King was a catcher, got called up to be the backup catcher, sat on the bench for 3 games and never made it in a game, and that was his entire major league career. The Royals have had some really interesting people come and go.
I still remember Irving Falou like it was yesterday. All right, that will do it for me, for the Drake, for Jack, and for Shane. It has been a loaded edition of The Pulse. Thank you so much. If you're here from Wire to Wire, we appreciate you so much. I'll be back in the saddle tomorrow, a Friday edition of The Pulse. For Drake, I'm Chance saying thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow for a Friday edition of The Pulse on ESPN Wichita, 92.3 FM.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Drake.